This is the Sons of UCF, the number one place for UCF sports, with your distinguished hosts, Adam.
Let's all get together and see who can solve the Wordle the fastest.
And Mike.
You know, last year I think I said about 30 people in the UCF Sons of UCF group. Let's try to double that. Let's try to get 50.
Now, here are the guys.
All right, welcome back, each and every one of you. Episode number 174, I believe, of the Sons of UCF. My name is Adam, and as always, I've got my good buddy, the number one UCF fan I know, the best person ever to host a podcast with, Mr. UCF Mike One. Mike, welcome back to the show, my friend. How are you?
Green, red. That's all I've been doing is watching these spring practice videos.
Okay.
That's just stuck in my head right now.
It sounds like it. Yeah, no, it sounds good.
How'd you like my cadence there? You like my tone?
For a second,
green.
Yeah, no. For a second, I was like, "Man, I hit Mike's name. Did I hit Mikey Keene's name by accident? I thought maybe I called the wrong Mike, so I got confused for a second there." Sound just like him.
I'm breaking this thing down where if it's just on how they say green,
mm-hmm.
Mikey's quarterback. Mikey by far is QB1 right now.
So in Mike's your exclusive power rankings on just cadence alone, Mikey Keene has pulled ahead so far.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Breaking news. Yeah. Okay. Breaking news in the Sons of UCF.
I got to tell you, Plumlee needs to add a little bass to his voice or something with his green. It's not inspiring me too much.
I didn't like that throwing motion either on that screen pass that Trace took. I mean, Plumlee had that thing all the way down to like the 0 in his jersey. We got to get that ball higher. But we'll get into all that stuff because it's spring football season. We've got countless minutes of video to break down every day that probably mean absolutely nothing, but that's what we're here for. We'll do absolutely nothing for you. Women's basketball, they made a run in the tourney, didn't end how we want it. We'll review that. A lot of changes in the basketball program. More news announced today on comings and goings. We'll cover all that stuff. A position change, Mike, took place, at least potentially today. We'll update you on what that looks like. We got some new guys coming in a future years, even this year. So we'll break that all down. Charge on, charge off returns. Spring football style. Mike is not prepared for this, and that'll be just okay. And Marcus Tatum stopped by, Mike. It was real fun to catch up with Marcus. He was kind of a quiet guy on the team. We didn't hear a lot from him, but he had some good sound bites. All of that's coming up on this episode, which means, frankly, I wouldn't move if I were you. I would just sit where you are. If you're in your car, on the treadmill, just don't go anywhere. Stay exactly where you are.
Yeah, you're not going to want to miss this one. We just got done with the Tatum interview. Good kid. He's got a good story. He was here for the last couple of seasons. Been through a lot here at UCF. I mean, we've seen a lot of ups and downs. We've seen some changes. He's been through all that. So you're going to want to listen to that. And then, of course, the rest of the show, we're going to do what we always do. And that's entertain you guys and keep you informed of what's going on.
That's exactly what we're going to do. And just do us one favor. Make sure you're following us on social media at Sons UCF everywhere. Make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. Those Yeti mugs are still available to you if you want to get to that 450 mark. So make sure you get us there. TwoNightsMedia.com is how you find us on the website. And subscribe, rate, review to the show. 5 stars, all that good stuff. More downloads we get, the more we can maybe do some more stuff. So everybody help us out there. And don't forget as well, you can help us out by going to Manscaped. Again, we're officially brought to you by Manscaped, where you can go to their website, manscaped.com, type in promo code Sons of UCF, and you get 20% off your order. So do us a favor, swing by Manscaped and check all that stuff out. Mike, let's start here. Women's basketball, probably not a place we ever thought we would start the show, but women's basketball, Mike, I got to tell you, they are, and they epitomized, kind of what it means to be at UCF, a gritty, scrappy team. Not a lot of people gave them a lot of chance. They win the first game against Florida, so our first ever tourney win, which is awesome, comes against the Gators, which is even doubly awesome. But it made us draw in round 2 the UConn Huskies, and fight as they might, the Knights come up just a bit short, 52-47 final score. That means the season is over for UCF, Mike. All in all, I would say a really successful season, 26-4 for the team. Again, first conference tournament win and regular season championship as well, and the first NCAA tournament win. So it's a nice season for the Knights, but it doesn't end exactly how we wanted it to.
No, but it was a fantastic season. I mean, let's put it this way. It was the best season we've ever had. You mentioned winning the conference, going to the big dance, winning a game, which we've never done before, beating the Gators, which we've never done before. And then the game against UConn, they battled, man. And that was a game all the way to the very end. UConn's a 15.5-point favorite going into this game. And them along with Tennessee, that's women's basketball for the last 30, 40 years. It's all it's been is Tennessee and UConn. And we were right there on the road. Tough environment to play in. That crowd was loud. They were into it. Our girls did not flinch. They played great, man. I mean, they played the game the way we wanted to play it. We slowed it down. We mucked it up with defense. I thought we had a very good chance there to win. Just things don't break your way sometimes at the end, and UConn comes out with the win. But a very good year, very good performance, very good showing by Coach Abe and all the girls.
Yeah, really, it's a tale of two quarters, and we're up 18-12 at the end of the first quarter, and things are looking great. We only score 5 points in the entire second quarter. UConn puts up 14, so they take a lead into halftime, and really didn't relinquish it after that. And ultimately, Mike, I don't want to take away from the season they had because they fought UConn hard. But you missed 10 free throws at 10 of 20 from the line, so 10 points we left on the court there. 20 turnovers. Only led to 15 UConn points. We had 12 points off their turnover, so you can easily see how you lose a game, how you let a game slip away by 5 when you miss 10 free throws and have 20 turnovers. But you said it. Here's the thing about some of these games. If as long as you play your game and you do the things that you do well, then I think that shows kind of what team you are. And we didn't back down against UConn. It didn't look like we were scared against UConn. We played a good defensive game. Offensively, it's always been a bit of a challenge. When Masani Kaba goes out in the second quarter with foul trouble, that the offense got a little stagnant. And Tay Sanders, Diamond Battles, they fought and they were making plays here and there. And we gave UConn all we can handle. And I think that's the telling mark of a team is we didn't change who we were. The moment wasn't too big. We made some mistakes. Yeah, we left some points in the court, but throughout the entire season, this team played the exact same way. And it kind of reminds me of like those early football years where you always get so close and we're going to beat the Auburns, we're going to beat the Georgias, we're going to beat some of these teams, and we just end up so short at the end. And this would have been a really awesome moment. But that's the other oddity in women's college basketball. They play these tournament games at home courts. So on the men's side of the tournament, this is a neutral site game someplace, right? It's probably in the Northeast, or probably in that area because UConn is the higher seed, but it's not in their home court. So UCF goes into hostile territory, and like you said, Mike, damn near snuck it out. But if you're a UCF fan, you've got to be damn proud of this team because they fought their hearts out all year long. You come up a little short, I get it, but this is the team. Hopefully, Coach Abe. We heard after the game, Diamond Battles is coming back next year. Brittany Smith's still deciding what she's going to do. So you have some pieces coming back. Coach Abe's daughter, I believe, is coming to the team next year. She's supposed to be pretty good. So hopefully, we're poised to make a couple-year run here and really start to take over the American Conference and then move into the Big 12 and be a dominant program there as well.
Yeah, and we almost did something that hasn't been done. Is it 28 years in a row that UConn has made it to the Sweet 16? Did I see that right? 28 years, something
that feels.
Like that?
You know what? I have no idea if that's right, but it sounds 1,000% correct to me.
That's incredible, the program that they have, and we were right there with them. And look at the jump we've made just in the last few years from when UConn was in our conference, and they just dominated us. They dominated everybody. They dominated the entire American Conference every year. I don't think they ever lost a game in conference from the time they were.
I don't believe they did, no.
So, and here we were on the road, postseason basketball, giving them all they can handle. Let's face it, UConn is a better team. They're a more talented team. They're a much bigger team. They had the size advantage on us, and they had more depth. So when we have our top players go out early in the game because of foul trouble, that's when they cashed in. That's when they made their run in the second quarter. Yep. We just couldn't overcome the long droughts. I mean, we had 2 points in the second quarter up until like last 2 minutes where we added in the 3 more points. But that's what ended up doing us in. That the missed free throws down the stretch at the end, and then a couple possessions at the end too that where we had a chance that just rattled out. A few of those just looked like they were going in. They rattled out, and that's all she wrote. But I'm very happy with the way this team played, especially in this game, but all season long. You got to tip your cap to them. Hopefully now you can build on this. This team kind of reminds me exactly where we were a couple years ago with the men's. We go to the tournament, we win our first game ever. We go and we battle Duke down to the wire, and you're thinking, hey, this program is about to take off. Now let's see if the women can actually do it. It's going to take Coach Abe sticking around. That's key part number one.
Yep.
But you got to like the way things are looking right now with women's basketball.
Yeah, and just another point to add there. I mean, we were down by 12 with like 4:50 to go, and we still fought back and cut this thing to 5 at the end, and had some opportunities to make it even closer. So this team fought and did not give up the entire night, which is just the epitome of their season. And to your whole point, I really hope we can find ways to keep this thing together. Obviously, Coach Abe is going to be a hot name, right? And I think we all have to prepare ourselves that if openings come, her name may surface for that. Just I have no inside knowledge of this, but Florida State's women's basketball coach retired, I think, the other day. So there's an opening at Florida State right up the road. I'm not saying she's going there. I'm not saying that's going to happen. But when these openings are going to start happening, we're going to hear Coach Abe's name coming up. So I know Timo's asking for money for the Big 12 fund, and you guys probably all saw that literature this week and how much money we need to kind of rake in. But hopefully there's a Coach Abe fund out there too, because she's going to be a big name, and we have to brace ourselves for people potentially coming after her. And hopefully, to your point, Mike, we can hold on to her.
Yeah, that's going to be hard to do. I got to tell you, that's going to be a lot of people are going to be coming after her. We've known how good she is for a few years now, and she has built this program from nowhere, and she's taken it to where it is now. It's going to be hard for her to turn down money that we're not going to be able to match. So I don't expect her to be here very long, maybe not even for another season. Hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah, I sure hope you're wrong for sure, Mike. But we will see about that. On the flip side, the men's team is going through a bit of a transitional period, Mike. So last week, Xavier Rhodes announced his intention to transfer. We didn't really even know Xavier Rhodes all that much, so at the time wasn't much of a loss. Then we heard Dre Fuller, who was a guy who played well in spots throughout his UCF career, was a starter for a year or two. Didn't see a ton of minutes this year. He already graduated. He already walked in senior night, so not surprising. He enters his name into the transfer portal. And then the name that you and I have been saying for months that we should keep an eye on because it didn't look good, it became official today. Isaiah Adams, the former Mr. Basketball in the state of Florida, one of our prized recruits, Mike, one of the, top names probably UCF has recruited in, announced this today that he is going to be also entering the portal, Mike. So, names are leaving, rumors circulating that maybe Darren Green is going to come back for his senior year. So, that potentially is a positive, Mike, but names going out at this point, transfer portal doors wide open, and we're losing a bunch right now. Definitely seems like we're heading for a total rebuild right now unless we pull some magic ourselves in the transfer portal.
Isaiah Adams' transfer portal collision course was a joke we made probably 4 months ago.
Probably at least, yeah.
Back in November and definitely by December. So we saw this coming. But because guys are entering the transfer portal does not mean they're leaving. We saw this last year. Brandon Mahan was in transfer portal, and guys sometimes can't find another spot and they come back. Is life in 2022 where kids are just going to go test the waters. If they can find somebody else that wants them, they may be gone. And, maybe it's for the best. Isaiah Adams, the only way you can describe this season was very disappointing. You mentioned player of the year in Florida. He had a very good freshman year, and you're thinking he's going to take that next step this year. Did not do that. If anything, went backwards. Is that his? I don't know how to explain that one. Is it coaching? Is it him? Is it the system? It could be a million different things. Obviously, he thinks he's going to find somewhere else where he can fit better. Maybe he can. We'll find that out. But the other guys, the fact that we have a bunch of guys out after this year, we're losing. I don't know how much of the roster, 80% of the roster between graduating guys and now transfer portal if this holds up. So definitely next year is looking to be a rebuilding season, and that's not what we are here for, right? It's not going to make anybody feel any better letting you know already before the season the season just ended that next year is going to suck too.
Yeah, I mean, about Isaiah specifically, right? I mean, this is so tough because this is a 19-year-old kid. He's from the Jacksonville area. He's got a really interesting story if he has ever a chance to read his upbringing and his relationship with his mom. And so you never know what's going on in a kid's life, right? Maybe he's homesick. Maybe he's got some stuff going on that kind of weighs on his mind. Maybe he's got an injury. And that's what's so tough because he seems like a really nice kid, a good kid. So you don't want to speculate as to kind of what's happening. Maybe he changes his mind. I think that would be cool. But obviously, to your point, maybe something's going on that maybe he thinks a change of scenery is the right thing for him. selfishly, I think we all want him to stay, but obviously I think we want him to figure out, the best thing for him. So, I think it's interesting though, is now we have to go through the portal, right? I mean, because in theory, we've got a couple of guys coming in. I know there's some rumors about a portal kid coming out, potentially to visit at some point, or maybe it was already there. So you're going to have to reload through the portal. And who are those guys and where are they coming from? And then can the other guys make a leap? It just feels like, to your point, this is a program that's in transition right now. And, we can talk all you want about revenue and all you want about, we need more resources, but right now we need players, right? We need bodies. We need to be able to form a team next year with some talented guys. So Johnny and the staff got some work to do to try to put guys in jerseys right now, because it doesn't appear like we have enough of them.
Yeah, and the revenue guys, they took a big hit this week. I'm sorry, with St. Peter's taking out Kentucky and now moving on to the Sweet 16. How much did revenue hurt that team this season? Not at all. Basketball, I've said a million times, is a sport where you don't need 10 superstars on your team. You need one. You need maybe two, and you need a bunch of role players, and you need a guy to put them in the right positions to do that. Coaching is a big deal in basketball. And, I mean, this last couple seasons have not been great. And now you're seeing guys leaving the program. Is that a direct hit on the coaching staff? I don't know. It may not be. Like I said, it might just be life in 2022. But the direction, does anybody feel good about the direction of this basketball program today? Do you feel better today than you did at the start of the season?
No,
I don't think
right?
too many people can say yes.
Yeah, I mean, no is the obvious answer, right? And because there's a lot of unknown, and it'd be different if you saw a path forward. Again, we know these Hendricks kids are coming in, and they're supposed to be pretty good. So maybe you see that path forward. I think that's the challenging part. You don't really see that path forward right now. It's kind of murky. Where are we going to find talented guys? How are we going to continue to find ways to compete? Some people would say, hey, you know what, 97% of the offense came back and we couldn't do anything. Others would say, well, that 97% was just kind of fool's gold because, those are just guys who scored. That doesn't mean they were good. Sure, whatever you want to argue there. But to your point, you're sitting here today on March 22nd, and you say to yourself, man, what's this team going to look like, in 6 months, 9 months from now when we're actually taking the court again? And that's what's, I don't know the path forward, and maybe hopefully Johnny and Timo and others know it better than us. But right now things are looking kind of dark. So Darren Green coming back would be a nice lift, I suppose. Darius Johnson playing well, and we'll see how that all shakes out. But as we sit here today, Mike, things are definitely trending in that down direction. You brought up revenue, and I really quickly want to pivot to the Mission 12 stuff that came out this week. I don't know, Mike, if you had 17 hours on your hands to read through that entire pamphlet of all the information there, but I'll summarize it for you. Basically, UCF says we need some money, and they laid out their operating revenue for where schools are at. They exclude Baylor, BYU, and TCU because they're private institutions. So of the Big 12 schools that will remain, including the 4 newbies that are joining, based on FY20 revenue, UCF is slotted at the 8th lowest in the conference. So they are firmly at number 8, with Houston only trailing behind at number 9. We know Houston has deep pockets. So UCF's goal is basically we need some money to be able to compete. I think their target goal is to get their budget up to $100 million, Mike. Represents 39% increase from where we are now. A, what did you make of that entire presentation? And then B, what do you make of sort of the need for us to continue to find ways to get new money and the ways we're going about trying to get some of that new money?
Yeah, it didn't come as a surprise. I mean, we are going to be probably the poorest team going into this conference in the next couple of seasons. But, a lot of that has to do with our young alumni base. And we said that forever. It's a huge alumni base. It's growing by the thousands every year. But these kids don't have that much money right now. And eventually we're going to get to the point where we'll be fine. But it's going to take a little while. And even moving into the Big 12, we're not getting all that money right away. I mean, we're going to take, I think, 50% the first couple seasons of the payout. So plus now we're going to have to pay the American to get out of here. So we need all the help we can get. They're asking for, big time shareholders society is $5,000 a year. That seems reasonable for a lot of people. Then they got what do they call the Big 12? I forget what the name of it is. $5 million lifetime commitment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, how many kids in the last 20 years or the last 10 years I graduated from UCF, I have $5 million just laying around to donate. Probably not that many. So hopefully they can grab a couple of those guys, but I don't see it. I don't see that being the way that we're going to start raising all this money. But, it is what it is right now. We're going to have to just deal with it and find more creative ways to come up with this money. And that's what Timo's getting paid the big bucks to do, is figure out how we're going to raise it.
Yeah, essentially, I mean, it's in bold a few different times throughout the presentation, or whatever you want to call this thing. And they're essentially saying that they need to increase their self-generated revenue. And they identify self-generated revenue as really 4 options: corporate partnerships, contracts, ticket sales and premium seating, and the charge-on fund, which essentially is donations. And their projections are kind of what they want to see is in FY20, they're listing they took in $10.6 million in charge-on fund, and their new target is $16.8 million, a 58% increase. So they essentially want $6 million more dollars to come through the charge-on fund and donations and major gifts. And then they're calling out corporate partnerships, currently at $5 million. They want to get that to $10 million, obviously, which is a 100% increase. So those are kind of 2 areas that they're earmarking to try to get additional dollars. And fundraising, they call out on another slide, fundraising, if you add in all the current Big 12 teams as well, and you look at where we are excluding BYU because, again, they're private, we rank 11 of 13. So basically calling, hey, we've got to find ways to get more donations from folks. So Timo's coming for your pockets, friends, and it certainly is a worthwhile effort. I mean, we all love UCF, right? We all want to see UCF succeed, but they're being very transparent about they need more from the donor base, from the fan base, from corporate partnerships if they want to compete in the Big 12. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, Mike. They're listing the 339 living alumni, which they are saying essentially is second only behind Texas as the largest number of living alumni in the Big 12. But yet we're 12th in average gift size. So basically saying, hey, there's a lot of you, but you're not giving enough if you kind of read through the lines, Mike. I'm curious how people are going to take this because obviously we need money. We know we need money. I'm curious how fans are going to take this sort of really overt sort of presentation around we need you guys to donate more.
Yeah, people are going to give what they can afford. People are not just going to just hand over as much money as the school needs. But the corporate sponsorship, I think that's an area where we really need to step up our game.
Yeah.
We have a stadium that has not had a name on it now for a couple seasons, and you can make a few $1 million off that. That would go a long way towards getting that corporate money doubled, right? And there's got to be other ways to do it. I know Carl Black has been sponsoring the Cabana for a long time, but what other big company names do you see sponsoring around the stadium? There's not too many. The 3MG roofing guys do a good job, but we need more. And this new building they're putting in, we're going to need some corporate sponsorships on there. I see they made a couple of adjustments to the first rendering, which looks like a little bit of an improvement there. I still don't know how I feel about it. I understand that they want it on that side of the stadium because it kind of gives them that transition over to the practice fields and all that stuff. But end zone seating for these high end price seats, I have no desire to go sit in the end zone. I like the seats there in the middle of the field. Maybe there'd be a better way to come up with whatever they're doing here. Maybe there's still time to change things around.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know who's their target demo for that, right? I don't think it's you and I. I think it's, corporate partnerships. It's, renting that space out for other events. I think it's, your company buys I don't know if it's a suite. I don't know if it's a loge. I don't know what exactly the seating will be, right? But I don't know if that's meant for like guys like you and I. I think it's meant for corporations, partners, to go in there and wine and dine and shake some hands and a football game's going on behind you. Maybe that's just my interpretation of it, but I always assume some of these more luxurious things really aren't for your average, Joe and Jane fan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. It's just the location where it is. If you had that thing on the 50-yard line or, above the Roth Tower where it is now, or even on the other side above the Cabana, that would be more enticing to me or anybody. If you're somebody that actually wants to watch the games. But if you're saying, it's for the corporate guys that go have their parties, they rent out a field Cabana space, and now they had to move it over there. I understand what they're doing, but I don't know. See if they're able to fill that up. Do you think they have enough commitments already to sell that thing out in the first season?
I would think not. I mean, verbal commitments, I'm sure, right? Like, but obviously, if we're having a hard time getting, revenue to begin with, I can't imagine that they have that confidence that they're going to be able to fill it, right? But I'm assuming people are saying they're going to fill it. And look, these are just renderings, right? Architects haven't drawn this up yet. I mean, plans can change. I don't know if they've done design infrastructure checks. Like, can you even support that? Is the stadium able to hold on? I mean, there's probably going to be a boatload of changes with that. But here are the things they're asking. So donate. There's the Big 12 Transition Fund, which they want monthly or one-time gifts to the Charge On Fund at any level. Shareholder Society, which is $5,000 for 5 years. The Big 12 Founders, Mike, this is what you were talking about, $5 million plus in lifetime giving. And they say, in quotes, if you have $5 million to give, what are you waiting for? Please hit up Terry Mohajir ASAP. They're asking you to buy season tickets, not just football, merchandise. They're saying that Nighthead and Script logos coming soon. And then support corporate partners. If you are a business owner, become a corporate partner and participate in your local alumni chapters, Mike. Look, I'm just curious to see how this plays. I think we all want to see UCF succeed, but wanting success is one thing. Having the dollars that you can invest in it as a fan, as an alumni, is another challenge. And I'm curious to see how UCF can galvanize this. And don't forget NIL's out there too, Mike, and they're there are obviously things people are doing to donate to NIL stuff and some of the different collectives that are out there. It's an interesting time. Everyone needs money. Coach Abe needs money. We need money for men's basketball, which, by the way, men's basketball is not mentioned anywhere in here. We need money for football. We need money for stadium. We need money for revenue. So UCF is firmly in your wallet right now, my friends.
Right. The Big 12, whatever that
Founders
group is there, $5 million. Yeah, there you go. $5 million. It says lifetime. I mean, there's got to be a minimum per year, right? Can I just say I'm going to give you $10 this year? But don't worry, in the course of my lifetime, I'm good for $5 million. Does that put me in the Founders Club or not?
I suppose you have to vet something. I don't think they're just going to take like a Dumb and Dumber IOU from you, but I assume you have to vet something. But it says $5 million plus in lifetime giving. So, hey, here, Timo, here's 10 bones. I'm good for the rest. Maybe give him a call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm planning on hitting the lotto in a couple years, so hang in there with me. Yeah. As soon as I do, $5 million your way.
Boom.
I promise.
The UCF Mike Launch Club is officially coming your way. But I'll be curious to see how this kind of plays out. Obviously, very slick packaging and marketing, and we'll see if it kind of galvanizes the fan base, Mike. Let's do this here. We're going to do some football stuff, but let's take a break, and we'll do some of this stuff charge on, charge off style. So everybody sit tight, and we'll get back to you right after this. We are the Sons of UCF.
UCF head football coach Gus Malzahn. You should listen to the Sons of UCF like your hair is on fire. Go Knights and charge on.
All right, Mike, we'll get to charge on, charge off in a second. Some football news from today. Joey Gatewood, the maligned quarterback transfer from last year. He of the big-bodied 6'5" frame, today was seen now running with the wide receivers. When asked at his press conference, Mikey Keene, I don't think wanted to break that news. It was just like, yeah, Joey's an athlete. He'll be good wherever he's at. But Mike, Joey Gatewood to the field outside of quarterback seems to be in the works. This probably is a good idea, yes?
Yeah, I think we've all said this probably since the first day we've seen this guy. He's got the size of a big tight end or a big-time possession receiver. He's got the athletic ability. Obviously, we've seen him take a few snaps at quarterback. None of us were really impressed. The last pass that he threw was that jump pass in the Gasparilla Bowl in the end zone that should have been intercepted. So I think he's best served helping the team at a different position, and it's good that we're seeing that early on here. And let's not waste more time with this experiment. It seems like we have enough quarterbacks on the roster to be okay without him there, so I think it's a good move.
Well, last week's charge on, charge off, right, was one of those guys would not be in the quarterback room. I think what I had at least one, right, was the question, and you've already hit the over on that if you said yes, because it appears that the Gatewood is on the move there, Mike. Some interesting news out of the portal. a 3-star linebacker from Eastern Illinois, Jason Johnson, Mike. 2 years of eligibility left. This guy was pretty much a tackling machine at Eastern Illinois. He is committed to UCF. I believe he will be on campus and be eligible for the fall term. I don't think he's here for the spring. So linebacker depth is coming, Mike. But if I've read this right, and I checked it twice, he's not exactly the biggest dude in the world. I think he's 6'2", like a little over 200 pounds, Mike. But obviously, the FCS route is kind of the Bryson Armstrong path that we got last year. We know linebacker is a position of need. So how excited are you to welcome Agent 8, as he goes by, to Night Nation?
I'm as excited as I was about Bryson Armstrong last year.
There you go.
Hopefully the kid can play. But who the heck really knows? But we need the depth. So if he can help there, that's good. Obviously, he's a good leader, a good kid. He was the captain of that team over there. So that's a good sign. Can he actually play at this level is yet to be seen.
Yeah, 6'2", 2 bills is a tad concerning. I mean, the size, obviously, maybe he puts some muscle on. He gets on that Mikey Keene weight training program, and maybe he adds some bulk, who knows. And then we also ink Mercer and Virginia Tech offensive lineman John Harris. He's 6'4", 275, Mike. Depth on the O-line never hurts anybody. This kid obviously has been playing a ton. He's committed to come to UCF, so we will welcome him. And I guess O-line depth can't hurt anybody, right? Yes, maybe?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's good depth.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, we need all the help we can get, all the big bodies we can get. You never know with injuries, and I mean, transfer portal coming in. Who's actually going to be here after spring camp? So, If we get somebody that wants to be here, we'll take them.
And apparently somebody else who wants to be here, Mike. High school ranks the second recruit for the 23 class following Caven Call is 3-star linebacker Troy Ford Jr. out of Georgia. He today put the hat on and says he's coming to UCF, Mike. So our second verbal commit, a kid a lot of guys were after. Seems like a pretty good player. A lot of people seem excited about him in the scouting community. So Troy Ford Jr., welcome to UCF.
That's right. This is a good start to the 2023 recruiting class. We've got 2 guys now committed. So everything around this kid seems good. He seems like he's a bit of a player. So I like the news of him committing early. And you see, I mean, how excited can you get about these commitments right now? How far away are we from signing day? If he's still committed when it comes time to sign his name, then I'll get a little bit more excited about it.
Yeah, if math is correct, we got like 8 to 9 months to go with these kids. So the good news is it seems like when we get in the mix for some of these kids, and especially the more talented ones, we end up really close to the end, or if not getting the kid to commit, right? Which is at least tells you that Gus is saying these are the guys I want, and he's going after him, and he's getting pretty close, if not grabbing them, and that's a bit of a difference for us, I think, from a recruiting standpoint. And there's talks about other kids that may be committing soon, a quarterback, a receiver. So it seems like the names that we've been saying, hey, we want these guys on our team, we want these guys on our radar. Yeah, Gus is getting in the living rooms, man, and you can't discount that. Now, are we closing the deal on all of them? No, but he's getting in the living rooms, man, and that's pretty big.
Yeah. What is the reason they have this whole period of commitments and then you can't sign until then? Why can't it just be you commit whenever you want? As soon as you're ready to make that decision, you sign that day. Why?
Because what are you going to do on social media then? What are they going to do on Instagram other than post a top 5, a top 6, a top 4, a top 8? Change a hat around, and then they can make some sort of tweet or something about thinking my life over, and everyone's going to freak out because they're going to decommit. It's more fun this way.
No, I mean, they could still do all that, but then once you commit, once you make that decision and say, I'm committed, then you sign the paper that day, and that's it. There's no more going back. You know what I mean? You can still have your top 5. You can still do it on social media. You can still do all that crap. But the thing that I don't like is you're committed here today, and then 2 weeks later, it's, I had a change of heart, and you're somewhere else. And then a month later, you're somewhere else, and then you're back to where you started. All that stuff I can deal without. So once I say the word committed, that means you're actually committed. You're going there. That's it. No more flipping, flopping around.
They verbally committed.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't want to get rid of this whole process.
Okay.
You commit, you're done.
All right.
You're signed.
Yeah, I'll see if we can talk to you about that. I don't know if we have any options to make that. It would make some sense. I get it for sure. I'm sure there's some reason, whether it's, they want kids to have the ability to opt out. They don't want kids front loading class. I'm sure there's something. Schools can do something nefarious and shocker. But at least we're on the board. We got to. So let's see if we can hold on to it. Now, that's the thing. Is now you got to recruit these kids all year long because now you don't have to leave. It's, just a hot mess, Mike. Okay, it's charge on, charge off time, my friend. I've got some hot takes here for you. I'm going to read them to you. You tell me if you're going to charge on, i.e. agree with this, or charge off, you disagree with this. So are you prepared, Mike? Are you ready? I know you've done zero prep, so this is going to be a lot of fun. You good to go?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. We learned today that young Michael Keene put on what he calls 10 pounds of muscle. Looks bigger, looks definitely noticeably bigger, Mike. So he's got 10 pounds of muscle, which is awesome. He wants to endure some hits, right? Really good to hear. Here's the charge on, charge off for you. Mikey Keene can put on all the weight he wants, but it's not going to matter if he can't fix that throwing motion. Charge on, charge off.
I'll charge off.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm one of the guys. That gets on him the most about the throwing motion. I don't like it. I don't think there's too many successful NFL quarterbacks with a motion like that. But we don't need him to be a successful NFL quarterback. We need him to be a good college quarterback. And he took the first step in doing that last year, even with that throwing motion. Right? And he showed me some things last year. He made some big-time throws in times we needed it. He beat the Gators there at the end of the year. So if he can win games, I don't care if he does 360 before every throw he makes. Get the ball where it needs to be. Get the ball in the playmaker's hands. Let those guys do the work. Ken Dorsey was never a great quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes, but it was the guys around him that made him good. So we have enough guys on this roster between the running game with Bowser and the receiving core that we have where he just needs to do enough. Don't lose the game. Don't turn the ball over. I'll take a game manager. And, the throwing motion is what it is. If you can clean it up, great. If not, I'm not going to go crazy about it.
That's a lot to unpack. So you've got Mikey doing a 360 before every passing play, which would be fun to see, by the way. And I'm not sure if you compared him to Ken Dorsey or didn't compare him to Ken Dorsey, but so we got 360 and Ken Dorsey all in one answer. That's tough. It's going to be tough to top that the rest of these. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. You know what a very long throwing motion that he reminds me of was Kerry Collins. Remember Kerry Collins?
I do, yeah. Your former Giants guy, yeah. Penn State guy.
He used to bring the ball all the way down and around like that, too. And he could swing it, though. He had a strong arm. So maybe Mikey, with the 10 extra pounds of muscle, he'll be throwing with a little more velocity this year.
Okay. All right, well, staying on quarterbacks for a second. All we've heard over the last couple of press conferences, a lot of questions been asked about Thomas Castellanos, and everyone's raved about his athleticism. Even in the Trace Trucco Zapruder film, I mean, the ball seems to jump out of the kid's hands. We've heard just nothing but praise from everybody about Thomas Castellanos. Last week I was on here saying, hey, maybe keep an eye on him, Mike, but this week I'm going to change it up for you. So charge on, charge off on this. We are using Thomas Castellanos as a smokescreen, and it's really a two-man race between JRP and Mikey Keene. Charge on or charge off Thomas Castellanos as a smokescreen.
No, I'm charging off. He's not a smokescreen. The kid is here, and he's ready to compete, and he wants to be the starting quarterback. I don't think we're using him to play the media at all. If he can play, he's going to be the guy. I just don't know if that's going to be the case. He's probably a little bit behind the other guys, obviously, without the experience. Mikey Keene's had a whole season under his belt. Plumlee's played quarterback in the SEC before, so he's got a ways to go to catch those guys, but I don't think he's just there as window dressing for us to discuss in the media. He's there to compete, and if he earns the job, then it's going to be his.
All right. A name that's been mentioned a few times, it came up today in the press conference from Mikey Keene specifically, is wide receiver Jalen Griffin. He came in last year. He was a JUCO transfer. I don't think he saw any meaningful snaps last year. But his name's been mentioned a few times. He's been one of those guys who's been lauded for being a workout, off-season sort of champion. And Mikey today said that that he expects Jalen Griffin to have a really big year and a receiver who stepped up, Mike. So Jalen Griffin in this upcoming season will be second on the team in receptions. Charge on or charge off?
I'll charge off on that one.
Wow.
Just because of the other names we already have that we know, that we've seen contribute to this team. He's going to have more receptions than Ryan O'Keefe.
I said second. Not. I said second.
I know. He's going to have more receptions than Flash, Jay Flash. Maybe, probably not. He's going to have more receptions than Kobe Hudson. coming over from Auburn. He was the number 1 guy over there.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have more receptions than even Keymore Gamble, tight end, which we're figuring the tight end's going to take a big notch up this year. I mean, we were predicting 25 receptions last year as a group, and they didn't get quite there, but I expect more this season.
Yep.
So I'll say no just because of the other guys we have. Maybe I'll be wrong on this one. Maybe the kid will come in and be the number 1 receiver. Who the heck knows, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't think he's number 1 material, but I think he's a name you keep hearing, and this happened to us last year. We kept hearing a few names here and there, and all of a sudden some of these guys are on the field, and you're like, hey, where'd that guy come from? He's Mikey's roommate, it sounds like. So I suspect he might get some additional run this year. We've been thinking about who's going to be that third receiver right behind Ryan and behind Jay Flash. Kobe Hudson, obviously, is not to pull a Gus Malzahn. Kobe Hudson's a guy. Amari Johnson's a guy. So we'll see if Jalen kind of breaks that mold. But I think it's a name to bear watching because he's definitely getting some shine this year. And we'll see how that shakes out. Somebody else who made it to the podium today, Mike, got me thinking as well. Justin Hodges, who came on late last year, kind of in that former Bryson Armstrong. I think that was the Knight role, where you're kind of like a hybrid defensive back / linebacker. And I think the defense really turned around when he got into that position and played well, Mike. So charge on, charge off. Justin Hodges is going to have a breakout season this year.
I'm charged on with that one.
Okay.
I've been waiting for this kid to break out for the last couple of seasons, just because he's from down here. I've always been rooting for him. He's from Western, not far from where I grew up out there in Sunrise. So I hope he is. And you know what? You want me to name him as my breakout player of the year this year?
Oh, no, I'm not ready for that. I don't have anything prepared. I don't have anything to write this down. Are you going there already?
I can't do it today because we're not doing the Sunny episode today.
Okay.
But be prepared.
All right, I'm prepared.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's probably going to be my guy. Just because he's a South Florida guy, 954 down here, and I've always been rooting for him.
Did you just drop the area code on me?
That's right. Hey, we put the area code on our helmets.
We do, yeah. I'm glad. Yeah, look, I think the kid played well last year. Secondary is going to be crowded, though, right? That's going to be the challenge. There's so many guys that are in the secondary that we expect to have, big years. Nakai Martinez is a name that's coming out of these practice sessions a lot as a guy that's kind of standing out. We know we're pretty much returning everybody from that secondary, so it's going to be a crowded spot. I think that's really the only thing is, will somebody have a chance to break out? The competition is going to be fierce, I think, in that secondary, Mike. I think I'm fascinated to see that position group specifically and who actually gets on the field because based on, again, the true freshmen are going to be tough, the Henderson twins and Nakai Martinez, because we haven't really seen them, right? But we think they're really good. So it's going to be tough, I think, to crack that secondary. I'm curious to see who those guys end up being because I think you got a lot of good options back there.
Yeah, and that's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem.
I can't wait to see. Yeah, so the cream will rise to the top, and the best guys will get on the field. So, but the other guys gotta be ready because we're gonna need the depth. At some point, somebody's gonna get hurt. So, the more guys we have ready to go, the better we are.
All right, this weekend, Gus Malzahn, our esteemed head coach, met the media, and it's mentioned later on in the show as well when we talked to Marcus Tatum. He was wearing an Isaiah Bowser shirt, Mike, and everyone thought that was really cool. But that poses a problem now, right? So charge on, charge off. Gus Malzahn is going to have to wear a shirt from every damn member of the team because he did Isaiah Bowser. Charge on, charge off.
Charge off. He's not going to have to do every guy. First of all, not every guy's going to have a shirt. But he's probably going to have to do it a few more times. Different ones, maybe a hat here and there. But, Bowser is the guy on the offense right now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the face the face of the offense right now. So not just everybody that has a T-shirt is going to get Gus to wear one during a press conference. I mean, you got to be one of the top guys. You got to earn that privilege of Gus wearing your T-shirt. So Bowser did that last season. Let's see who can step up and make Malzahn wear their stuff later on.
All right, so who are the T-shirt worthy guys right now? Who are the guys that if they got T-shirts, Gus, you expect to see, like, what are the next 3 shirts you expect to see Gus wear?
If there's ever a King Kong shirt, made,
okay.
I mean, that's a money maker right there.
Sure, okay.
So Mikey Keene.
Okay.
There's one. Give me a Ryan O'Keefe T-shirt.
Sure, yeah, good one.
He made some big-time plays last year, was the MVP, really, of the season. And you want a third guy. I hate to say it come all on offense, but I know Sam Jackson's got some stuff. He's a leader, captain on this team. So give me those three as the next one.
What about socks? Like if Paul Rubelt had a pair of socks, you think Gus is putting those bad boys on?
Yeah, but you don't see Gus's socks.
No, that's the problem.
So that's not gonna work.
Okay.
I don't think socks is the thing.
So socks is not a good idea.
A big sombrero hat, maybe somebody comes out one of those.
Oh.
And Gus is all over it.
Wow. Now you're talking. Okay. Yeah. Look, I think it's cool that he obviously, wore Bowser's stuff, and UCF's been essentially saying, hey, we are a school that's going to embrace the NIL stuff. So, come here. And I think Gus doing that just kind of shows he's, one of these guys, players coach, and wants to support that, Mike. But I just wonder if it's slippery slope. That's all I'm saying. Or how do we get him a Suns UCF hat? Maybe it's a better question I should be asking, is how do we get him to wear a Suns UCF hat?
Oh, I think we just give it to him and he'll put it on for us. Right. We gotta, I don't know if he'll wear it during a press conference, but those are nice hats, man. I think he'd like to wear one of those. You
think if we get one of those, bucket hats with Sons of UCF? I mean, he's a big bucket hat. He likes to, the brim all the way around. Maybe that's our new merchandise marketing item.
Yep, I think that's the way to go with him. He definitely prefers those, or just get him one of those Sons of UCF tumblers, or whatever those things are called, and get him start drinking out of that during practice.
Oh,
do you like that?
He might. Yeah. Yeah, I mean those. I mean they'll keep your drink cold, warm, whatever you need, right? I mean maybe that's what Gus needs, that hydration. Maybe that's exactly what we need out there.
Yeah, and maybe start taking up some of our other sponsors. Yeah, let's get Gus a Manscaped. What do you think? The Lawnmower 4.0. You think he needs one of those? It
is. It's over 4 million men have tried it. I mean that's for sure. I don't know why I wouldn't be 4 million in one. All right, here's my last charge off for you. We need to decide as a fan base what we're calling John Rice Plumlee. Charge on or charge off?
Sure, charge on.
Because here's the thing.
What are the options? Because call him JRP.
I hear JRP. Someone called him John Rice today. Like, is that his middle name? I don't know how that works. Is it John Rice Plumlee? Like, what are we calling? That's a lot of names. There's a lot of hyphens in there. Are we just shortening this thing? Let's all align right now on what we're going to call Plumlee, or is it just Plumlee? I don't know. There's just a lot of options available, and I want us all to be on the same page here. So you're going to decide.
I think a lot of it's going to depend on how he plays.
Oh.
I mean, if you want a cool name, you want a cool nickname, you got to do something good.
Wow.
You can't just be J. You can't just come in and be JRP, right?
Mm-hmm. I see what you're doing there.
Sit the bench. You can't just do that and then be the third string quarterback and play once or twice, 1-2 plays a game. That's not going to work. Then you're just John. You're just a guy.
You're just John. So if he throws an interception, you're all three naming him at that point then?
No, interception is bad. So then he's just John. He's just.
So okay, so it's not like when you're in trouble as a kid and your mom or dad middle names you, right? Where you get all three names because you're in trouble. That's not how that's going to work for him.
No. If you hear all three names, it's because he did something good.
Okay.
He breaks a long run. There's John Rice Plumlee.
Right.
You say the whole thing.
Okay.
It's kind of the opposite effect of when you're in trouble in school. I think.
So if he throws a pick, he's just going to be Jay? Jay with a fumble?
Or he just be freaking Plumlee, something like that.
Oh, wow, we had new names. Now we got more names to call him. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, turnovers add some expletives to your
That's fair. That is the rule. Every turnover adds an F-bomb to your name. That's a fair rule. Yeah, I just think we got to align.
Too many of them.
Yeah, just got to align on what we're calling this guy. There's a lot of options there.
Right. Well, let's see how the rest of the spring goes. And if he has a cool name by the time fall comes, that means he's contributing. He's doing something right.
All right, we'll see. Well, and we are all leading up to spring game, Mike, obviously at this point. Season ticket holders, you got emails today essentially telling you that you can redeem your spring game tickets. However, you can't transfer them anymore, which is interesting. So your tickets are yours and yours only. I'm sure there's a way around that. Why would they do that, by the way? Why can't you just transfer your spring game tickets? I don't understand that one.
I don't know, because I always give mine away.
Yeah.
Every year I've given them away, and I was going to do it again. I saw the email come in. I was going to go straight to Twitter and say, who wants spring game tickets? But I saw that in red. It says you cannot transfer them. Seems silly. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking.
I mean, it's all part of that Big 12, Mission 12 revenue plan, right? Now you got, I think, $5 for seats in the Cabana, I think I saw. There was like 10 someplace else. So They got to get that revenue somehow, Mike. It's spring game. That's how we're gonna get to that Big 12 threshold.
You're better off just letting everybody in for free and then just, making monies on hot dogs and beer.
Oh, the hot dogs again. Here we go with the hot dogs.
They got to be good hot dogs, though, not that bread crap that we had last year.
I know.
Scott Carr liked.
I know you're really upset about that. The Scott Carr and his bread and and just get some seltzer for crying out loud, Scott. Wherever you are, just get some White Claw up there. We'll be A-okay. Well, let's charge on, charge off. Again, spring practice, it's fun. Like the videos are out there. Trace did a great job today. Took a bunch of videos of quarterbacks throwing the ball from the 5 to the 10. We saw some long throws though. I'll give him that. We saw Chip Lindsey giving some direction. Mike, do you take anything on those videos? Is there legit? I know you're on your green, red, reds.
Mm-hmm.
Is there legit outside of that, because that's well established? Is there anything you take out of those videos at all?
No.
Okay.
They're warming up is basically what it is.
Yep.
All those drills you see are just basically what you see maybe before a game when they're just kind of trying to get loose and get the blood flowing a little bit. You're simulating a snap. You're faking a handoff. You're throwing a screen pass, basically, or the passes we've seen to receivers or running backs coming out of the backfield. I don't see anybody throwing with defensive guys playing defense against them, right? They're not playing. At least that's not what we're seeing on these videos. So
yeah, I'm sure it's
not much to take out of them.
Yeah, I'm sure it's I don't think the quarterbacks aren't live, so they're not getting hit, obviously, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, if the throws are going straight in the dirt, Wimbush style, then we'd be taking that out of it. But haven't seen too many of those in the clips I've seen so far.
Wow, Brandon Wimbush got a stray from Mike on that one. But so according to your official depth chart rankings right now, based solely on cadence and clapping alone, Mikey Keene, QB1.
And it's not even close.
Book it, friends. You heard it here first from the Sons of UCF. Well, maybe we'll keep updating it. I know you're going to be out of town, so maybe I have to take charge of the rankings here. But that's how we do things around here. Cadence and clapping.
Green. Yeah, he does it well.
It's jarring when you do that, by the way, because I don't know what's coming. And all of a sudden, I don't know if you just fell. I don't know what happens there. It's jarring when you do that. But what else are you gonna do?
I could do a red if you want.
I know you could. Let's just do a commercial and we can just end this madness. Don't go anywhere.
This is UCF Athletic Director Terry Mohajri, and in my spare time, when I'm not on TikTok, I'm listening to Adam and Mike on the Sons of UCF. Go Knights and charge on.
All right, Mike, excited to bring on Marcus Tatum in just a second. But before we do that, I think Marcus would want us to tell you more about Manscaped, which, as you know, is somebody that's sponsoring the podcast. We really appreciate that. They're supporting us, so we want to support them. If you don't know already, they are the men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. They are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Their fourth-generation trimmer, Mike, the Lawnmower 4.0. It's hot. 4 million men worldwide are trusting it and trusting Manscaped. And with this offer, you get 20% off of all your stuff at manscaped.com if you enter in promo code Sons of UCF. Mike, let me tell you a little story. You got time for a story? You going anywhere?
No, I'm not going anywhere.
Fantastic. I was on a little vacation this weekend. Me and the family just took a couple days, spring break, took the kids out, right? Went to a little local resort with a pool and that kind of situation. And because, it's a stylish item, I was wearing my Manscaped t-shirt. I had my Manscaped shirt on. It's a very nice shirt. It was, a little overcast at that point. So I was like, hey, I'll keep the shirt on right now. And a guy comes over to me and he's like, hey, man, I like your shirt. And I'm like, thanks, man. Appreciate it. And he was like, what is that? What is that stuff? Is that like real or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, man, it's Manscaped. Like, it's actually a whole line of stuff for you. It's, to keep yourself fresh, keep yourself engaged. They got trimmers. They got, 4.0, your custom heads. They got all kinds of things you need. And he was like, really? That's a thing? I'm like, dude, it's not only a thing, it's a need. Everyone's got to have one. And he was like, so you're telling me I need to get this? I'm like, I'm not telling you need to. I'm telling you need to do it right now. And I said, I can hook you up. I am actually a sponsor for them. I can give you a promo code. And this guy was like, well, what's it going to do for me? I'm like, look, friend, You look like you got some stubble there. What are you shaving your face with, right? Same thing you're shaving your balls. You're doing it all kinds of wrong here. Manscaped's got all this stuff here. This guy's like, hey, wow, he was in. My wife was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm closing here. Will you give me a second, right? I mean, I had to tell this guy about all the different options here. Again, there's an on-off switch. There's a travel lock. It's got a LED light on there. I was like, you're gonna hurt yourself? No, you're not gonna hurt yourself. You got to go to manscaped.com. And he was like, I've seen like these kind of commercials. I always just thought these were jokes. And I'm like, this is no joke, friend. This is the only tool that you're gonna need. You get one of these and you're happy. I'm like, looks like you got a wife and some kids over there, right? Like, you got some stuff going on in the bedroom, maybe. I don't know. But if you had this, you might have to. So this guy left, and I don't know if he actually put an order in, Mike, but I gave this guy a good hard sell for about 5-10 minutes on going to manscaped.com. And I hope he's a lifelong customer, because these tools, they'll change your life, friend.
If he did go and buy those things, he is loving life right now. Guaranteed. It's life-changing what this Manscaped can do to you. Not just the razors, but everything that comes along with it. I'm about to go on vacation myself. The travel pack that came with.
I use that travel pack.
It's
yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you fit everything you need in there. And I needed one. I didn't have anything good to take my stuff in. Now I have that. And you mentioned the T-shirt, which is a cool shirt. You can get that. The underwear, as we talked about, which is really, really nice. The ball toner, the lotions, all that stuff. Everything that comes along with Manscaped. High quality stuff. And you need to get on the website now. Put in promo code Sons of UCF. You're going to save 20%, which is not just, a couple bucks here. It's a good chunk of money, especially if you're adding in all these products that we're just talking about. So go ahead. I don't know what you people have been waiting for. If you haven't done it yet, get on there now.
I was shocked this guy hadn't heard of it, but luckily I hopefully changed his life. I changed his ways, and it can change your life too. Again, over 4 million men are trusting Manscaped. If you're not one of them, you're missing out. Trust us on this one. Do the right thing. Manscaped.com, promo code SonsUCF. Load up that cart, whatever you need. If it's the trimmer, if it's the shirt, if it's the ball toner, the deodorant, whatever you need, load up that cart, and we got you for 20% off. Only here at the Sons of UCF. Don't wait any longer. Do that right now. Actually, wait just 1 second. Listen to Marcus Tatum's interview next, and then you can do it. Here is Marcus Tatum. All right, Marcus Tatum, let's start here. You are a local kid, right? You're from Daytona Beach, which, if my geography serves me correct, is right near UCF, but you decided to go to Tennessee instead. So take us through your early recruitment process out of high school. Was UCF on the radar for you at all? Was that a school that you were looking at, or were you always kind of set on other places outside of Florida?
Honestly, not really. I remember me and Adrian and a couple other of my teammates from Mainland, we were all looking at Miami heavy, and Coach Al Golden and I got fired, and then we'd all ventured off on our own path. So I talked to UCF a couple of times, but by that time I was already looking at other places and stuff. But then Adrian had ended up going there and having a lot of success. And then I was like, oh, man, that could have been me, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, people maybe don't know that. You and Adrian were teammates in high school. Was he just as fast in high school or faster than he was in college?
Yeah, he's always been ridiculously fast, and Jason Klubiali was also one of my teammates in high school.
And I assume he's a little bit slower than AK?
Yeah.
just a fun fact to throw that out there. So you guys had to been lighting up offenses in high school then, with you mowing dudes over and AK just cutting people up on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Adrian's always been special. His speed is unheard of, and just a great guy to be around too.
So you spent 4 years over at Tennessee. Can you tell us a little bit about that whole experience?
It was overall a good experience. Wrong and coaching changes and whatever, but at the end of the day, it was a good experience. Got to play a lot of good football players. I played a lot of good football, and it was just a stepping stone to my career, and that's what I take it as. And I'm just glad I ended up where I was at. I went through a couple of injuries there. It's a lot of ups and downs, but I was able to learn from them all. And I feel like that's what's most important.
And then when you made the decision that you wanted to leave, go somewhere else, finish your career, was it as simple as just wanting to be close to home, or was there something else in the school you were looking for?
Man, DG, I was in contact with DG, and they were just talking about how they had lost a tackle, and I always watched UCF on TV and their offense. I felt like it really fit me, and just wanted to be a part of it. And I got around the offensive line with Sam and Cole and them at first. because I was really quiet. 'Cause I was like older, so I wasn't like really there for like the official visits. I didn't want to take all the pictures and stuff. I was just there just to meet people, and I just got along with them really well, and I clicked early, and it was an easy decision. It honestly had nothing to do with being close to home.
Yeah, take us through that portal process. I mean, a lot of people don't understand what that looks like, right? Obviously, you enter your name in the portal, and then what happens next? Do schools contact you? Can you contact schools? Like, how does that all work once you decide that you're looking to move on to a new place?
Honestly, it's about your connections, and I really was talking to people. Like, I had people there, and I knew people there, so I was ending up in like the best situation for me. Because even when you enter in the portal, there's like a certain thing in the portal, and coaches can't like search you directly or something like that. It was something very specific. So like some coaches don't even know that you're in the portal. So like that's why social media and stuff is important, so people can see that you've entered your name and things like that. Because truly, if you're not like one of the bigger people or like a potential starter, some people get lost in the portal all the time. So it can still end up a very dangerous place with the amount of people that are actually in it.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, the numbers this year, I mean, tons of kids are in the portal, and there's not that many spots available. Is there a lot of uncertainty, like when you enter your name in? Were you like nervous, like, oh man, is this going to work out? Or is this one of those deals where you just have faith that you're going to end up in the right spot?
No, I was in a more blessed position. I knew I was going to end in the right spot. But some kids who haven't like played much and like they're entering it after like their sophomore year and stuff with like not much playing time, it's very uncertain.
Well, you said you had
What about hype?
sorry, you said you had a chance to go down to UCF and visit. What about the campus? What about the campus or the facilities kind of stood out to you when you were there?
My mom is a UCF alum, so I've been around the campus a lot. And it's just a younger, just fun place, just an accepting area, and it's just a happiness, you know. You guys were winning a lot before I even got there, and just being around that, it's just the winning culture and just a happy campus to be on. I don't know, that really goes into a lot. I mean, people don't understand that when you're going through college and things like that, like everything affects you. Like you're away from home, this is what you're around 24/7. So like just when the energy is just different, everybody's just more accepting, and just the goals are just to win and have fun. It changes everything.
Well, as a UCF alum, was your mom on your case? Was she like, hey, come on down to Orlando? Was she doing some recruiting on the home front for us?
No, she wasn't really doing that, but she was very excited when I did tell her, and we discussed that I was going to go there. She was really happy.
Awesome.
What about Heupel as a recruiter? Did he have like a closing speech to kind of seal the deal for you? Or no?
I mean, those numbers speak for themselves. There's not much you have to say when you're putting up those numbers, and you got a quarterback like DG. It honestly speaks for themselves, because I played against Coach Heupel when he was at Missouri, and they obliterated us off the map with Drew Lock. So I knew of Coach Heupel, I knew of Coach Ellerby, because I've seen what they could do against them. And then I seen what they could do, asking Adrian and them about them. So it wasn't really that difficult to make that decision.
So you were looking forward to that high speed, high tempo offense, not so much running, powering people over, but you wanted that fast paced thing. That was cool with you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. But then we started to incorporate it more with Coach Malzahn. So we found like a good dynamic balance, I feel like, and we just bounced off of our strengths, because our personnel was different than what he was used to. So we took like a lot of our speed and stuff, and then like incorporated the power and stuff with Bowser, and it just made magic.
All right, so when you get to campus, you didn't know, but 2 months later, the whole world's going to shut down. COVID hits, and what do you do with yourself at that time? What was going through your head when you find out the season's on hold?
That my senior year was over, and that I was going to have to find a way to just make something happen and then just train, I guess. And that's all I was really thinking about, because I knew everything would pass in the world eventually, but my NCAA eligibility would be passing too. So that's what I was mostly worried about. But once they announced like we get the year back and stuff, everything fell into place.
But yeah, what do you do in that time away? Are you training? Are you lifting? Are you running? I mean, obviously, it's tough to be in football shape and not playing football, right? What are you doing to keep yourself kind of active during that time?
I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't doing much. I was swimming and playing video games, because it was just, couldn't go anywhere. So I was doing push-ups, I guess, every once in a while, but that got boring. It felt like I was in jail. But we were meeting a lot.
Yeah.
So that's why it helped me going into it, like knowing the play so well, because we met so much. That's all you could do. We were meeting on Zoom. That's when Zoom became a thing. And like, it was just very interesting just to be meeting so much with people that I've met for, like a couple of days, maybe a couple weeks. And then other than that, I was learning these people through online meetings. So that was fun.
Yeah, what's that like? Obviously, you're coming into a whole new system that you have to learn, and typically you're used to learning stuff on the field, right? You're on the field, in the classroom, in the facility.
Right.
How hard was it to learn a whole new offense, especially since Heupel's offense has some wrinkles that are kind of unique, all over Zoom call or virtually? Was that even more of a challenge for you to kind of pick up the system that way?
To be honest with you, it was my sixth offense, I think, fifth or sixth offense. So at that point, I was kind of learning to adapt to just understanding the schemes, and it's really just the words changing. And they really simplified it for me, and they did a great job. That's one thing. Though we went fast, they did a good job of breaking it down to understand how fast you could go, because you can't go fast if people are thinking.
So when you finally do get back, some guys are deciding to opt out, and maybe some guys aren't happy with the way the school's handling things. You hear people getting together, maybe they're going to sit out, this and that. How do you think that impacted the team that year?
Honestly, just playing for each other. People can opt out. They can do what they want. That's their own decision for them. And you just support your teammates and do what you do. You always support your team first, and you go with what the majority of the team wants. You never decide with what the team wants. So if the team just says, we want to play, then you go out there and play. And if somebody decides that they don't, you still support them anyways. And it was really just a iffy situation, because there was a lot more going on than just COVID during those times. It was a whole skew of things going on. So just really just dealing with what your team feels is best.
All right. So after all that's finally over, you guys finally get back out there. You get to play another game. We go up to Georgia Tech. What's the feeling like? You just mentioned you thought maybe your career was over, and now you got another shot at life.
It was a good feeling to finally get back out there. I played like crap though in the beginning. I was all over the place. I don't know what I was doing, but I really played terrible. DG pushed down like twice or something. I was not a fan of that game, but just getting adjusted and my feet wet in that offense, because there's different footwork and things like that. There's no excuse, but it was just a terrible game. So it was nice to be out there, but I did not play well at all.
Well, a couple of weeks later, Tulsa comes to the bounce house. And I know, Marcus, it was your first year, but UCF's got a history with Tulsa. Back in the early 07, 09 era, we played a ton. They had our number a bunch. And then the year before you get there, 2019, we lose a game on the road to Tulsa when, and I'll be honest, I feel like that's a game we absolutely should have won. And then they come to us in 2020, and again, they just have our number. What did Tulsa do to you guys defensively that either got you guys off rhythm or kind of threw you off your game? Because it seems like they had some sort of a formula that whatever it was had an impact on what we were trying to do offensively.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say our plays and stuff, so
sure.
They mess with Coach Heupel and them, but it was just their scheme was just fit for it. That's just how they were built. They were built to stop most of our certain plays, and once you get in a rut and you start slowing down, it's hard to start pushing, especially with their offense, because it's a method with our offense, and it's hard when we're going through now and we're keeping our defense on the field so much. And let's be real, they were just a good football team. As you can now see, they had 2 offensive linemen running sub-5s. They had Zayden Collins. They got corners all over the place. They were a pretty good team. Though their record might have not shown it, they were a stout football team. And we were actually winning a good amount of the game. We just turned the ball over and put ourselves in bad predicaments. And with a team like that, it's like a physical, control the clock type of team. And you just can't give them that. And we really beat ourselves a lot of those games. But to all credit to them, they had some good players. And it's starting to show now.
Well, next week, it got even more interesting. We go on the road to Memphis. We put up 49, but we still lose 50-49. And you mentioned it earlier, Marcus, but there was just a ton of things going on in the world at that point in time. And, just a lot of things were probably weighing on everybody. And after the game, there's a bit of a sideline situation, and fans and media are all over the place saying, hey, there's turmoil on the team, and these guys are, aren't getting along, whatever. All that aside, though, you're a senior on this team, right? You're a leader on this team. What did you and the rest of the kind of the leaders of the team do at that moment to kind of pull the team together and make sure that everything kind of stayed the course? Because outside, everyone looking in thought like, hey, this thing's going to fall apart, but it didn't. How did you guys make that happen?
Just trying to give advice because where I'm from, or where I came from in Tennessee, everything is magnitude and so everything's blown out of proportion. So this was truly nothing. They just somehow got caught on camera, but people, brothers, and they push and fight all the time. Nobody really truly hates each other. It's just the heat of the moment. It's a high emotional game, but I was told them it's just people are going to translate things how they want it, but if we put it out there like that, that's what's going to happen. So we just need to keep some things in house, and if people need to argue or whatever, just get it over with, but there's no need to do it right there on the sideline. But things happen. Even if they do, it's just they hugged right after, apologized right after in the locker room. So it's just the perception of what happens.
You got your first taste of the rivalry game with South Florida that year. How would you compare it? I mean, obviously there's not as much history, but when you're in Tennessee, you're a part of some pretty big rivalries over there. How do you compare the one we have here with the Cows compared to what you guys had over there in Tennessee?
To be completely blunt, some of the rivalry games I was playing at Tennessee, it was getting whooped. So it wasn't like the best feelings, but to be on the other side of it and like just actually winning and beating somebody, and it was just like it's more a heated rivalry when like you can actually like compete with the team and play with them and actually beat up on them. So, like when we were playing rivalry games that like Alabama and stuff, some of those teams were just super teams. And they were just whooping us up and down the field. But it would be different when we were playing like Florida and Kentucky and that. But like the third Saturday in October, sometimes it's not like the best games. But playing against USF was always fun. And plus, it's like more of a rivalry because it's an in-state rivalry. I didn't really have that. It would have been like playing Vanderbilt and stuff. But it still wasn't like the same. It was just more fun. It's just like, I'm telling you, it's just a different energy when the fans are young, the players are young, and they just adds to the rivalry. When you have like older alumni, it's like you don't really, it's like but like when it's like everybody's like within like the same generation, it's like makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, this year's game was pretty intense with them. The year before, first year was kind of a shootout. We didn't really expect it. I thought we went into that game thinking we were going to blow them out, and it was not the case.
Yeah,
it was pretty tough.
Actually, really tough.
Yeah, both times actually, both games were close games. But the first season ends with the Boca Bowl, and that was just a disaster. How bad did that game suck? Did you have like regrets at the end of that year, saying, "What the hell did I do? Was this the right place for me to come," or anything like that?
No, I've never had regrets in my decision, and it was a team loss. We got whooped, and it happened. So there's no reason to just try to like take it out on everybody else, start pointing fingers and stuff. Pointing fingers that's just childish. So no, we lost and just sucked it up. They were a good football team with a really good quarterback, and it sucks that we had to be the ones that showed how good he really was, but it happened because I lost to him. Money. Yeah, I lost to him at Tennessee too. Threw some Hail Mary and beat me there too. So I knew how good he was. It just sucked. We had to find out he was a top 5 pick when we played him at the Boca Bowl.
Well, don't worry. When you get to the league, he plays for the Jets now. You should be able to beat him easily, whatever team you go to in the NFL. But after that season, right, you had a decision to make. Like you said, they gave you a free COVID year, but you'd already been at school for a period of time. Like you said, you were one of the older guys on the team, so you got a choice, right? You can take your free COVID year, come back to school, or you can, I assume for you, live out a dream and try to make it in the NFL. What kind of went into your decision, and ultimately, what kind of factors led to you deciding to come back to UCF?
Once you leave and don't make it, it's over in football. So being able to come back and knowing I can improve on things and focusing on my game and watching the film back, just honing in on my craft and knowing that it's like the final go around and that knowing that I still have things to work on and that I actually have a real chance if I can fix those things, and that it would just be the best decision to do that. Because rushing out of the league, you could end up in a very rough spot rushing out after COVID and not being prepared. It's just the more calculated risk to come back. People are always saying like I could have got hurt and stuff like that, but then I could have went undrafted and I could be sitting at home right now. And I never would have had the opportunity that I'm having right now. So it's just a calculated risk, and just go back with my teammates, just believed in them, and it was fun, honestly.
Going into the season, though, what are the things that you want to work on as you kind of did your analysis and said, hey, if I can get better in these areas, I got a shot? What are those areas? What are those things that you said you want to really improve on?
Just being more physical and just being more, just playing my game in space, being able to move better in space and control my momentum and not being all over the place and just making more blocks on the second level and stuff. I was always pretty good at pass pro and things like that, but improving my base blocks and footwork, things like that, double teams, just simple O-line basics that are needed at the next level, and just improving on that to try to perfect it.
Well, if I have the timeline right, when you made that decision, you were intending to come back and play for Coach Heupel and that staff. And then a few weeks later, all of a sudden news breaks that won't be happening. Heupel's going to be moving on. So kind of a two-parter for you. A, how shocked or surprised were you when you learned that Coach Heupel will be leaving? And then B, were you even more shocked to learn that he was going back to the place you were at formerly in Tennessee?
Yeah, it was more funny than shocked. I've been in the coaching carousel, and I understand what goes on, and it was a good opportunity for them, and I'm glad they got that chance, because now they're doing what they do on a national stage. Even though UCF is on the upcoming national stage, it's just when you do things in that league, everything is just, like I said before, blown out of proportion. So I'm just glad they got that opportunity. But it was very ironic to go to Tennessee after I left Tennessee to go there to play for them, and then they ended up going back. But I mean, it is what it is, because then I ended up getting a coach that I played at Auburn. So then it's just like, I know all these guys, so that's why it's just the coaching world is so small. So being able to just keep being around the same guys that I know of, it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you had the famous tweet. It was just a GIF, and it said ironic, right? And it was also ironic, too. Brandon Johnson, who I know you played with at Tennessee, comes to UCF, and a few weeks later, Heupel goes to Tennessee. So, that's also an irony to it as well. But, and look, you had the perspective of being an older guy and being through these things before. But a lot of the team, I mean, these were younger kids, right? Some of these guys were probably upset. You can say anything you want about social media, but people were making assumptions about different people's social media posts. And I think Dylan had a post that said, basically like, hey, no phone call or something like that. How did you as an older guy kind of help manage that for these younger kids and try to give them that perspective? Because I'm sure there were hurt feelings, right? I'm sure some dudes were like, hey, what the hell? How did you try to maybe be big brother to them and teach them a few things about, sort of what this process might be like for them?
Just straight up ask them, would they move on if they got offered $4 more million in everything they do? Like, what would you do?
Yeah.
Because it's a business. So, I mean, of course, there's feelings into it and all that, but at the end of the day, they're improving stuff for their family and bettering opportunities for their careers. So it's pretty much that's like coaches getting upset when players declare for the draft early and they have a chance to be a first rounder. Like, it is what it is. It's a business to an extent. Though people can have emotions to it, and there still is a family atmosphere, at the end of the day, they have to feed their family, and we have to feed ours. So we just need at that point, we should have just relied on each other more. But like I said, UCF is starting to get on the bigger platform now. So, they probably weren't expecting as much attention and stuff like that. But once Tennessee and the SEC and stuff is connected to things, everything gets blown out of proportion. So people are going to search for stuff to talk about, and it's just going to try to add on to the drama and things like that. But there truly wasn't as much drama as people think. It's just an interesting factor when SEC schools get involved, and how the media gets to take things and how tweets get took out of proportion, and then people start getting in their feelings a little bit more, and he left us for money and all this stuff. But it's at the end of the day, we're all just trying to be successful. And the media is trying to be successful. They want the best article. The fans want to watch the best teams. It's all at the end of the day, it's all it is. It's just about everybody just trying to be their best. And they did that decision, and it was just trying to explain to them that a lot of the people in this room would have made the same decision for more money as well. So don't take it personal just because somebody else did.
So they announced that Gus Malzahn is coming in to do the no head coach. You mentioned you're kind of a little familiar with him. Was that your first meeting with him, or did you know him a little bit?
Oh, no. He recruited me to Auburn when I was in high school. So it was a little awkward that I told him no, and then he ended up being my coach. But he's such a great coach and just such a good personality. I didn't think he would ever hold it against me and stuff. But it was just, I knew of him. I knew what he was about. I knew his methods of coaching. I knew what he stood for. So it was an easy Like when he was there, I was excited.
What was that first spring like? Is it a big difference going from the Heupel offense to the Malzahn offense? What are the biggest challenges and adjustments you got to make?
Whew. Going from Coach Heupel to Coach Malzahn. Honestly, it's more specific than Coach Malzahn. It's really the difference in offensive line coaches and just the expectations different from Coach Ellerby to Coach Hand. And they had different techniques and things like that. So that was one of the bigger adjustments, honestly, because I knew what the practices would be like because I've been in the SEC style. So they were like a little bit longer, like a little less reps, but like more physical, more full pads and things like that. So that was a shock to some guys, but I was pretty ready for it.
Well, you mentioned Coach Hand. He seems like quite a character. What was it like to play for him? It seems like every week he's tweeting about dudes. So what was it like to play for him, and how much did you enjoy that season with him?
He's probably one of the top coaches I ever played for. He's just all about his guys. He'll do anything for us. Really attentive to detail and just sit there and break down the film with you. We'll just, I don't know. It's really hard to describe when somebody's just giving you everything they have. Like, it's really what it is. He just puts his all into his players, and it shows. And the success shows, and he still doesn't care. He doesn't care about the success. He's still on you just as hard. Even when we all got all conference and stuff, he was still at my Senior Bowl games getting on me about little things. It's just how he is. He just wants us to do our best.
Yeah, we saw that up close and personal. I mean, the Our Time series, which followed you guys around, was really awesome. And there was a moment where I think Matt Lee had an injury and was trying to play and couldn't play, and they kind of played the conversation off the field where Matt Lee basically is apologizing, and Coach Hand is like yelling at him like, "Don't you dare apologize! You don't owe me any apology." Like, that was just really raw to see, and it kind of showed at least the fans just a glimpse of what he was like as a coach. So it sounds like you had that kind of same experience with him when you guys had a chance to be on the field together.
Yeah, definitely. Between both of them, him and Matt both, they are really invested into their teammates, and Coach Hand is really invested in the players. So to watch them too, that was truly organic because Matt truly felt bad for having to get out, even though we were going to beat the snot out of Temple. He still just wanted to be out there no matter what. And he just don't want to let Coach Hand down, but Coach Hand was just there to let him know that you're not letting us down. Like, we're killing them. Like, it's good. It was just still just to be there for him was just nice to see.
Well, let's go back to the start of the season. Is that Boise State game and the circumstances around that, is that the strangest thing you've been a part of in a football game, having to wait that many hours and a game finishing at like 1:30 in the morning, like with 5,000 of your closest friends in the stands? Was that like the strangest circumstance you've ever experienced?
Oh, yeah, by far. And then that whole season was truly just adversity all over and over and over again. So it added up, but it was fun though. But going out there that late, it was the latest game I ever played in. I came out the game, half my family fell asleep, so they all saw the highlights in the morning, but it was a fun game.
Well, you mentioned that season. Let's talk about Louisville for a second. I know you know this, but I want to refresh the audience if they forgot. Our starting quarterback, running back, wide receiver, cornerback, linebacker, and defensive tackle all go out in that game. Have you ever seen anything like that, Marcus, where that many guys get injured in one game? I mean, that just had to be a crazy atmosphere to keep seeing guy after guy, go off the field and not be able to come back, man. What is that? Is that something you've ever experienced before?
I've seen a fair share of injuries throughout like a camp or like throughout a season, but never in one game. And the significance of the injuries for like the players that it was happening to was pretty detrimental and pretty like, just like, wow, this is really happening right now. And it was like we could have won that game easily, and it was just like, man, this is really happening. So it was just like, just sitting there and just thinking back, just like more adversity. And it's just, here we go. We just got to keep pushing through because these next couple of teams don't care. They don't care what happened to us. And then that's really what Coach Malzahn was pushing. Is just like, at the end of the day, we still got to go out there and play with what we got, and that's what we're going to do.
I'm not asking you to call out Louisville or anything, but at some point in time, like, Is that many injuries a coincidence, or do you think there's something the other team's doing maybe specifically to target guys? Again, I'm not saying Louisville was doing that, but it just seemed like a lot of the injuries were common. They were knee injuries, guys were going down. As a player, were you kind of like, man, this is way too coincidental, or is it just the price of playing football?
No, it's just that hard behind turf, and it's happening more and more in like a whole bunch of places, and like you can see the common consensus is this turf. So. It's rough.
You know what? You guys did go 0-4 on turf this year, just FYI.
Hold on, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
You guys did go 0-4 on turf this past season, so all 4 games we played on turf were actually losses for us.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Cincy, Navy, SMU, and who am I forget? And Louisville all have that artificial turf. And we were 9-0 on natural grass.
Wow. Well, Louisville's turf felt like concrete. To be honest, it was bad.
Dylan obviously goes down on the very last play of that game. And now we got to turn to a true freshman, Mikey Keene, who probably didn't expect to play at all this year. But here he is. He's thrown into it. You're one of the leaders on the team. What did you guys do in that week to prepare this kid to make his first start?
To be honest with you, Sam was leading, and I was just following his role. But I just knew as a tackle that I just had to block harder, just give him more space. Because, like, I tried the whole being, like, a vocal leader and stuff. It just wasn't for me. I just like being, like, the quiet one, just poking my head in when I can and just helping out people where I can. But Sam was really the vocal one and just putting it on us as the O-line, just that we needed to just hold our blocks longer. And his job's going to be easy. The kid has talent, but I don't think he wants to get hit by 24-year-olds. So it's time for us to go out there and just give him some time and some opportunity to make plays and get him comfortable.
Yeah, that first game we go to Navy. And we jump out on him. He throws the touchdown on his very first pass. We're up. We have a 2-score lead early in the game. But they just kind of wear us down. What the hell happened the rest of that game there?
It's the same thing similar to Tulsa. You can't have mistakes against offenses like that. You don't get a second chance. And once they wear down and wear down and wear down, and our defense is out there, so many plays, getting cut, getting flipped, so having to keep their eyes on the ball, keep their keys. It's a lot. And it's not fair to the defense to be out there so long and we're turning the ball over, things like that. So that's when you're facing offenses like that, like Navy has. It's a team effort. And if one side of the ball is lacking, it really, really, really affects the other.
So early in the season, we have Dylan Gabriel. Obviously, he's number one quarterback. We're not taking him off the field for anything. But now that Mikey's the quarterback, we kind of start doing this little rotation. You bring in Joey Gatewood for a little package here and there. As an offensive lineman, do you like that? Do you like switching it up? Does it make things a little more difficult? Do you have to adjust here and there? What do you think about switching QBs like during the middle of a drive or the middle of a series?
It's above my pay grade. I'm just going out there to block. You can hear the different voices. We got to get the timing down, the cadences. But other than that, it don't matter who's back there. You just got to do your job up front, and everything else will be good, taken care of.
Well, take us behind the scenes. How were you guys preparing each week, right? Because it felt like each week somebody else was going out, somebody else was injured. So even running back, right? I mean, Bowser was in, then he was out. Then you had Johnny, then Mark Anthony comes in, then Johnny's there, right? And then you had Trillian Coles for a couple games. How did you guys prepare week after week, just not maybe even knowing who was going to be on the field and knowing, as an offensive lineman, right, you have to block differently for those guys, right? So the running backs run differently. So how did you guys kind of prepare? How did you prepare specifically not knowing maybe who was going to be back there each week?
Because honestly, out of everybody you named, none of them were up front. So that's really what happened. We just leaned on each other, and we truly just understood that we just got to start smashing kids, and no matter who's back there, if we make our blocks, they're going to make the play. And of course, we knew it comes with like different types of plays and things like that, but they all have their own strong suits, and we can do that as offensive line because with how old we were and stuff, the adjustments were easy for us. So it was nice to be able to have the team lean on us and then let the young guys adjust, and we could form to them instead of them having to conform to us because we're like one-dimensional. But we are a very diverse offensive line, so we were able to do a lot with different people in the game.
How different is it blocking for a guy like Isaiah Bowser, who's 6'2", 225, and just a barrel, just a guy no one wants to see running downhill. And then a kid like Johnny Richardson, who's like 5'8", like a $150. Like, is it harder blocking for one or the other? Like, is it more fun blocking for one kind of body style or running type than the other?
Oh, no, it's both fun. I just know when Johnny's in the game, I got to get my hands inside more because those people are going to be running sideline to sideline, so I don't want to get a holding call. So it's just like I don't want to be like out in space, and I know Johnny's in. Oh, he's going to make something shake. And just I know I just know Johnny's going to be like all over the place, and it's hard for him to go down. So just continuing to strengthen my blocks and just going through that. But then Bowser's just everybody's been trying to tag him, and I do not like people getting extra hits in, and just that really bothers me. So I know when Bowser's in the game, they're going to be trying to like go after him and like trying to gang up on him and gang tackle him. So just being able to like find him where he's at and getting him off the pile, because I really hate that.
He seems like he likes that, though. He seems like he's ready for all that contact. He wants people to bring it on.
Oh, yeah, he embraces it, honestly, and he likes punishing people. I just hate those little extra late licks that the defensive tries to get. So it's just they're just trying to do just everything in their power to just – I don't know what it was. It was just always when Bowser was in the game, they're just always trying to get these late behind hits. And I hated it.
Well, one of the other questions that kind of loomed over the season was Dylan's health, and would he come back, and would he be playing in the season? Was there a point in time where you guys kind of knew, hey, he's going to be down for the rest of the year, and let's just kind of rally around Mikey? Was there just a period where you just recognized, hey, we're just moving forward with Mikey, and Dylan will be back if he's coming back, but just not really counting on him coming back anymore?
I mean, injuries are a difficult thing, and anybody that's been through one, you can ask them. Everybody handles it differently, and nobody's to say what somebody else is feeling or how they feel mentally about something or what else is on their mind, because there's a lot that goes into it. And so we can only just worry about who's out there on the field. You can't be worried about what's going on in the training room and stuff, because at the end of the day, the cameras are still on, the film's still rolling, and there's still somebody in front of you trying to embarrass you. So it's not what you can do. And I feel like it was just another situation where we're getting a little more attention. Dylan's a top quarterback. Like, got Coach Miles on now. Like, we got our own little TV show. So it's just like everybody just wants just a little more drama. Like, what's Dylan doing? Oh, what is he doing at halftime? Oh, what's he doing before the game? It's just like, but he's still treating a broken clavicle. And it's like nobody wants to say that. It's like everybody's thinking, what's Dylan doing? What's Dylan doing? Like, is he coming back? Is he selfish or whatever? But it's like at the end of the day, he has a broken clavicle, and how many people talking about him have ever been through that? So it's just, that's how I take, because when I went through my injuries, it's a mental thing. And if you're not all the way mentally, why go out there and play bad? So, like, I don't know what Dylan was going through. I never really talked to him about his injuries, because I knew when I was going through my injuries, I was sad. And I was like, just beating myself up about it. And I was just like, what can I really do for the team right now? And I know he didn't want to like intrude and just like let Mikey take over. And it's a difficult position to be in.
The team really battled down the stretch here this year. Some close, tough games. We talked about the one against South Florida. The East Carolina game came down to the end. A few of them, the Tulane game. How much do you think the adversity going through, dealing with all these injuries and all that stuff really helped you guys come out on top in most of these games?
It's always just the thought that we've been through more, and that at the end of the day, they don't want to battle us in the third and fourth quarter, because we've been through this where we're like seasoned, and like there's not much you could throw at us that could really affect us negatively, especially in a close game. We were just more disciplined, and they worked our butts in the off season, and we went through a lot with Coach Dawson and them, and it was just togetherness, because at the end of the day, we know we've been through harder, and they worked us harder, and then at the end of the day, we were better. So we knew we were better. We just had to show it at times, stop beating ourselves. So in those close games, in the times that it mattered, we made the plays that we needed to, and it just worked out in our favor. So
the end of the year comes, they announce we're playing Florida Gators in the bowl game. How excited were you? How excited was the team? Did you notice a big difference preparing for this game as opposed to the year before going into the BYU game?
Oh yeah, it was a huge difference. Oh man, it felt really good this time around. Didn't really feel too good the first time around because, like, honestly, I feel like people felt like the season wasn't even supposed to happen, and that was just a whole different feeling. But this one was like, we're going to be the best team in Florida. They're not better than us, and we want to go whoop them.
And you guys did whip them, right? And we wore them down. It's not like we kind of snuck out of there. We had a lucky call, a lucky break. We physically just, as you guys up front, just tore them apart. And by the fourth quarter, they were done. We did to them basically what Navy did to us.
Yeah, and we wore them down strategically, physically, mentally, everything. They didn't really stand a chance because everybody was talking about their little preparation and all that and how they weren't working hard. And you told the wrong team that. You can't tell Coach Malzahn and them that, because then Coach Malzahn and them go so hard. So once it's going around that they're not working as hard and doing all this stuff, we went harder. And at that point, they had no fighting chance.
All right, you played this year with one of those hallmark moments of life. This is the first year, obviously, in college football that NIL deals were legal, right? I mean, maybe things were going on before that, who knows, right? But this is the first year that legally you guys could, engage in deals for your name, image, and likeness. How much do you think that changed college football? I mean, how did you enjoy that process? I know, you were obviously looking at deals and you had people approaching you. How did you approach that process? How much do you think that changed, college football this past season with NIL stuff?
Of course, it adds to the drama and the spectacle of college football. I know you guys saw when Dylan was leaving, people talking about burning shirts and stuff, and it just brings different atmosphere. But for me, it really just betterment for opportunities for kids. Some schools are going to take advantage of it, of course, but what can you do? So that's what college football is. Everybody's trying to find one way to one-up each other, but it can really help kids. And if we got the right education for it and Coach Malzahn and them prepared us well, then nobody was going to be breaking rules. And it was really nice to be able to just have like a coaching staff that supports you in it. And I know you guys probably saw him wearing Bowser's shirt and stuff. He's all about his players. And Coach Hand just wanted all of us to get through compliance and deal with it because he hates distractions. He didn't want nobody getting in trouble with suspension, so we all understood the rules and they educated us properly. And if the deals come, they come, and if they don't, they don't. It's still about winning.
How about players, though? Was it something that, guys are talking about at the training table or guys are talking about in the locker room about deals they're trying to get? Because in the media, the fans, we're all assuming you guys are like in the locker room, like, arm wrestling over who gets the Coca-Cola deal, right? But obviously that's probably nowhere close to what's happening. What about, your teammates and players? How much of a conversation was it?
You got to recognize where you're at. And if you want to be on that platform with the big deals, you got to beat the big teams. You got to win. And no brand wants to be a part of a losing organization or a player that sucks. So similar to just like, say, for instance, like with the Super Bowl team, a lot of those Rams players are getting a lot more deals than they were before, and it's just winning.
Yeah.
People want to be a part of the winning team, so this is what we were focusing on. Nobody really focused on the deals. Of course, Dylan had the big stuff, but he was never like that. Bowser had all his stuff closer to the end. He was just never like that. It was just there, but it was never like consuming anybody.
All right, let's check in on you. I know UCF's Pro Day is coming up soon. I know you've been doing draft prep. How's preparation been going? What have you been working on? How do you feel about where you are right now?
It's going really well. I've been working on my core strength, my lower body strength, and just maintaining my weight and just moving good with it still like I always could. And it's going really well, actually. And I'm pretty excited for it.
What are you hearing from scouts? Are you hearing anything about, either potential grades, landing spots, anything like that you're hearing so far?
Everybody says that they always hear stuff, but the only people that truly do are the top 20 picks. So for me, it's just up in the air, and I just need to work, and that's all I can do. Because nobody truly knows what's going to happen unless you're a franchise quarterback or the best tackle in the draft. Other than that, nobody knows.
Well, give us the scouting report on Marcus Tatum. If my NFL team drafts you, what kind of player are they going to get?
Just a hard-working, just caring player who's just going to do what it takes to win and just set the edge and protect the quarterback. and just gonna low maintenance and doesn't require much and just likes winning and having fun and just truly just I like embarrassing people on the edge. I truly get enjoy and just knocking down long arms and just locking people for 5 seconds. I just love it. It's just fun.
You got any predictions on your 40 time on pro day? Any idea what you want to run?
I want to run fast. I'll
Okay.
just say that.
Okay.
I'm going to move.
Okay.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to be moving.
Awesome. Well, look, we appreciate you taking so much time. Before we let you out of here, though, we always end every interview with some fun questions: movies, music, sports. You never know what you're going to get. So you ready to handle some of these fun rapid fire questions?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So before we get on the phone, you told me you were on the bus ride back from being at a rodeo, which I'd never heard before. So are you a rodeo fan? How did you end up at a rodeo tonight?
My trainer is the executive director of sports performance for the PBR. So he trains bull riders and he trains me. So their combine was today, so I got to watch.
Who's tougher, you or a bull rider?
Them. 100%. It's not even a question. The things they were riding on today are monsters.
So you're 6'6", what I think last weight I saw, I don't know where you are now, 305. How long are you lasting on a bull?
Probably about 0.3.
Okay.
Probably as soon as I open the gate. As soon as I open the gate, I'm done.
All right. So I'm watching a lot of these spring practice videos, and all I'm hearing is green, green, red, red. What exactly does that green and red? What's the difference? Is that telling me what kind of play we're running?
With what it is now, I have no idea because they probably changed it. But for the offensive line, how they're saying that, like that green, green, red, red, like how you just said it, both at the same speed each time. That's just it keeps us in cadence. So I have no idea what it means now because not what we said last year. So I have no idea. But that cadence is what kind of changed with Joey and Mikey and stuff. They both kind of said a little different speed sometimes, so that was fun to adjust to. That's all.
So if they say it at a different speed, does that change the play, or what does it do?
Oh no, it's all supposed to be the same speed, but some people just talk differently.
Gotcha.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you mentioned you hated guys taking little cheap shots at guys like Bowser and whatnot, but football's a rough game, and I know you've seen a bunch. What is the worst thing you've ever seen on the bottom of a fumble pile? Because I got to imagine, Marcus, the two places on earth I would never want to be is riding a bull and at the bottom of a fumble pile. What have you seen at the bottom of a fumble pile that'll just make people's stomach turn?
Like, when like the pile's like rolling up and there's like a offensive lineman and defensive lineman that are like still engaged in their block, and then like either the O-line or B-lineman pushes them over the pile and like bends their back all the way back and just keeps driving. I've seen that a couple times. That's pretty bad when people's back are almost touching their heels. That's pretty gruesome. Like, oh man, anything to get that ball though.
Are there like unwritten rules around that kind of stuff, or is it just like, hey man, anything goes?
I mean, maybe at the next level when Tom Brady's down there, but in college, no.
All right. What's your dream vacation you'd like to go on one day?
The Galapagos Islands to see those tortoises.
Wow.
Right.
Very specific. Okay. Wow. All right, Marcus, it's pregame, right? You guys are going to come out of the tunnel in like 10 minutes, before coach has got a speech. You got your headphones on. You're getting yourself ready for the game. What are you listening to? What music gets Marcus ready to get out in the field?
I'm honestly sitting there laughing at Cole and Matt and the music they're listening to, and it's just entertaining. It's some of the stuff they play. It's hilarious. It gets them into a different mind space. I don't know what genre it is, but honestly, just that, and then just to soothe and just relax. Because I've played so many games, you can't get overamped at offensive line. You will start lunging and holding and just acting a fool, just being controlled and physical. So just relaxing music. It could vary. Sometimes I put on shuffle, and sometimes I would just talk to Cheetos and just laugh. And talk to Paul and ask him about German stuff, just chilling.
Well, hold on. What kind of German stuff do you ask Paul about?
Like the Autobahn and stuff, how they just be out there speeding. There's no speed limits, and the drinking ages and the bread and the houses, and it's just interesting over there. So everything's different, and it was just just always like to pick his brain because they're huge fans of Jakob Johnson, who I played with at Tennessee. So they would always ask me about Jakob because that's like one of the few German players to make it to the NFL. So just bounce ideas off each other and what Jakob used to do and how he overcame his stuff coming from Germany. Actually, just a really small football world, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe after the Galapagos, you take a trip over to Germany and check it out.
It's kind of cold, man.
You're a big boy. How many chicken wings can you put down at once? You got a record?
Man, my basis is a 20-piece from Wingstop with 2 fries. So if I was competing,
Space.
I could probably touch 50 easily. It depends if they're depends if they're spicy or not. I don't really like spicy things. If it's like garlic parmesan, I could smoke 50 to 60. But spicy, I'd probably stop around 40 because then it's just hot and I don't enjoy it.
Okay.
You using blue cheese or ranch?
Come on, dog, ranch.
Get out of here with that. That's garbage.
Wow.
Blue cheese is so
Adam's a ranch guy.
I'm actually neither, honestly. So we had Josh McMullen on the show probably about 2 months ago, and he told us that some of y'all on the offensive line, you guys called yourself the Thick Fellas, and you went out and got tattoos together. So are you part of the Thick Fellas crew? Do you have a tattoo that you share with your line mates, or is that stuff a little too crazy for you?
I shared it with them mentally. I never got the never got the tattoo.
Wow.
Never got the tattoo.
Oh wow! Was there pressure? Were they like, "Hey Marcus, let's roll," or were you like, "Nah, I can't make it today. I got to go talk to Paul"? Like, how did you get out of it?
I mean, that was like their thing before I got there. I didn't want to like intrude on their stuff. I feel like I didn't earn it yet. I feel like I didn't earn the Thick Fellas tat.
Okay.
But Dylan did get us Thick Fella socks, so I wore those. If that counts.
That sounds about right. Does Rubelt have the Thick Fellas tattoo, or did he not get grandfathered in?
I don't know if he's broke the barrier yet,
Okay.
but time will tell.
Fair enough.
Maybe he's got it in German, and you guys don't even know what he's saying.
That's fair.
How many guys have that tattoo?
Let's see. Probably like 5 or 6, and then some previous players too, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, who's your celebrity crush? You got a chance. You got a date with one famous celebrity. Who you taking out?
Wow.
Famous celebrity, a date? I'll be honest with you, man. I've really, like, as my friends got into professional sports, I've gotten less and less attracted to like the whole celebrity thing. I like being normal. I couldn't imagine going out to dinner, all them cameras in my face, because I like to eat. Like, I don't really want to like. I hate attention too.
Who do you think's hot though? Who's the hottest one out there?
Man, I'm telling you, man. I just lose attraction. Like all that attention seeking stuff. I don't like it. It truly, it's. I hate it.
Oh, fair enough.
All right. So Scarlett Johansson comes up to you and says, "Hey, I want to go out," and you say, "Nah, I don't want the attention."
I mean, I'd rather her make a donation to the Tatum Fund than date her.
Well, the Tatum Foundation is always hoping for donations, I imagine.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, I'll get you out here in this question. So if we put on the film and I said, Marcus, show me your favorite play of your college career. The one play, maybe it's something small no one noticed, maybe it was something big somebody did notice. You can play one play from your college career. That's your signature moment. What play comes to mind for you?
Signature moment. Man. A lot of these reverses with O'Keefe were really, really fun. But it was probably the most impactful was when against Florida, when I was blocking, I was just doing that DN, just destroying him. And it was just, I just saw the ball in the air and I see O'Keefe catch it and I see he threw up the sign.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh man, you can't make this stuff up. And it's just, in that situation, it's just like, man, it's bigger than football.
Yeah, I know. Watching it at home, I mean, like I had goosebumps. I mean, on the field, do you get goosebumps? Did you feel that moment, like just for the 2 point, the gravity and just the weight of that meant more than just 6 points at that time?
Yeah, and then they started turning the lights off and stuff, and it's just like our fans are going crazy. It's just like, man, this is really on national TV. We're the only game on ESPN, and this is really happening right now. And it's like we just threw a bomb, and we are whooping Florida, like whooping them bad. And they're over there arguing and stuff, and it's just like, man, it's just like Otis is like, it really just felt like it was just like, can't even describe it. But yeah, definitely goosebumps.
Yeah, look, that's a great. If he had to pick one moment, that's a great signature moment to pick because that was one of the most iconic plays that's going to go down in UCF history I think for a long time. But look, Marcus, we appreciate you taking some time. It's been a lot of fun. I know you got a lot going on. I know you got pro day. I know a bunch of guys are training hard. I know you're training hard too. I know everyone out in Night Nation is rooting for you to get a chance at the next level, man. So you definitely got some fans in your corner, and we'll be keeping an eye on you. Hopefully, we can catch up to you soon. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Charge on.
Yep.
Thanks,
Charge on.
Okay, sons of UCF, both of you, you are the father.
All right, we'll go over some cows here in 1 second, Mike. Marcus Tatum, nice dude, really good kid. Obviously, we only had him for 2 years at UCF, but he was a part of some really important teams. Offered some really great perspective. It's interesting. You kind of hear him talk, and you can just kind of understand and see his maturity level and kind of how level-headed he is, how, he didn't really, sounds like, took anything too emotionally and was very even-keeled about everything. And while he says he's not a vocal leader, I imagine he's one of the guys that were looked up to pretty heavily in the locker room. And it was definitely great to catch up with him and learn about his 2 years at UCF because it was unique. He didn't play the whole time there, but he kind of took a shot basically saying, like, I wish I'd gone there my entire time. And so I think that that just speaks to how special this place is once you get here.
Yep, another kid we've talked to that is just a quality human being, very nice kid to talk to, and makes it easier to root for these guys every Saturday. I enjoyed my time speaking with him, and it's hard coming up with different things. You don't notice the offensive line a lot of the times, right? Because when we're watching football, we're just watching the ball, we're watching the quarterback, the running back, but these are the guys that make everything possible, the guys up front, and he did a very good job for us for 2 seasons.
He sure did, and hopefully, these are guys. We forget this, Mike. Every time I talk to one of these guys in this situation, I mean, these guys are preparing for the biggest job interview of their life, possibly, right? And it's not just they go in for one day and do an interview. I mean, this is a month-long process, and even after the draft, it doesn't end. They have options to go to camps and tryouts, and so you always just root for these kids because you realize this is their opportunity now to live their dream. You and I are old men at this point, right? And we don't have some of those same opportunities anymore. But to see young kids and this opportunity, it's definitely cool. So I know I'm rooting for Marcus and all the guys to get an opportunity and get a chance. But hopefully he breaks in somewhere. He sounds like he's really excited about his options. So hopefully he makes a squad, cracks a squad someplace, and gets a chance at the next level.
Yeah, we're definitely rooting for him. So good luck to him. And this is a big week coming up, a big couple of weeks. And let's see if he can impress the right people and find himself in the NFL one day.
Well, he impressed us, and that's fantastic. What doesn't impress us is when people do things that are dumb and stupid and make us laugh. And we call those cows because, obviously, our neighbors to the west there, Mike. So Cow of the Week comes up every week. We nominate something who just did something that we think is just ridiculously unintelligent, just like the Cows White do. And you always kick off, Mike. So who do you have this week for Cow of the Week?
The Cleveland Browns football organization.
Oh, boy.
And it was going to be somebody. Somebody was going to do it. Heard talks of the Atlanta Falcons, maybe the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
All wanted to get in on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes.
Deshaun.
And Cleveland came in and blew them all out of the water. This guy, I mean, he's guilty of these things that he's done, right? It's not just one woman. There's 23 women have come forth and said that he's done these things to him, and he's going to get suspended. So Cleveland, I don't know what they're doing here. They're going to have a quarterback on their hands that's probably not even going to play this year or maybe play half the year. We don't even know what that is yet. What else do they have to give up to get this guy? And then to make him the highest paid player with guaranteed, the entire contract is guaranteed. How did they ever come up with that idea to give this guy that much guaranteed money? But this is the reason why the Cleveland Browns have been the Cleveland Browns for the last 50 years. They can't get out of their own way. And this is just another example of them doing something stupid and giving all this money to a guy that, A, is not a good person, and B, who knows if he's even going to be able to play for you this upcoming season. So, Cal of the Week, Cleveland Browns, I think it was an easy choice for me.
There's a couple of options there, obviously, right? Because, one, who are they outbidding? I mean, I think they almost like outbid themselves, right, to pay $230 million. And so kudos to his agent for getting the Browns to be that dumb to give him all that money. Although, take the off-the-field stuff out of the picture, which is hard to do. He obviously was a pretty talented quarterback in his time in Houston. But, yeah, it just comes across as tone-deaf. Obviously, it didn't sound like they did a lot of research. They didn't talk to some of the individuals involved, some of the folks who had levied some of the claims against Deshaun. To your point, it was funny. I was listening to your boy, one of your favorite guys, Carson Palmer, CP. I know you're a big fan of his. He was on the Dan Patrick Show saying that athletes they fall in love with one, probably bad choice of words there, by the way. They get they find one massage therapist and they're like very loyal because that person is the person who knows how to work on their body specifically. They know exactly what they need and they know what to do. You don't go find 22 of them and you don't find them on Instagram. So you guys can do with that information what you want. But it does come across a bit tone deaf, and obviously, that's a lot of money to pay somebody, and it's interesting to see how that plays out. But it's not surprising, right? Like we just know this is what the pro sports leagues do: talent over morality, pretty much every time. I mean, that's just unfortunately how this works.
That's right. But there's a lot of Cleveland Browns fans that are saying they're done with the team, and I knew some people that were saying, if he comes to my team, I'm not going to root for that team anymore either. And at some point you got to draw the line in the sand. Everybody's different, and who knows if these people, when it comes down to it, they see him scoring touchdowns for them or taking them to the playoffs or a Super Bowl, they may change their minds quickly. But it's not a good look for the team, the league, and basically anybody that is supporting him. The way things look right now, he looks like a bad guy. So I'm glad he didn't come to the Giants. And I'm glad the Giants went out early and said, we're not interested in him. That made me happy.
Give me Tyrod Taylor. That's what they want. Well, now
That's
Baker.
I'd rather just suck.
Baker Mayfield needs a home now. Maybe he can latch on to the Giants.
It's possible.
No?
I guess. I mean, they're going to give Daniel Jones another shot here. See what he can do with the new coaching staff. But I never thought Baker was that great either. He was okay. But you sell your soul for some of these guys. It doesn't always work out.
That's fair. Yeah, that's certainly fair, Mike. Cow of the week for me is TNT or TBS or whatever network it was on, analyst Rex Chapman, who is a pretty interesting follow on Twitter. He was doing a lot of funny stuff back in the day with people basically busting their ass. And he's broached that into multiple podcasts, and now he's a CNN show. But he's doing commentary during the NCAA tournament this year. And they were talking about Providence, who had won a game. And he said, it's the first time since 25 years ago when Pete Gillen had a player, God Sham God. Rest in peace, Pete Gillen. Which is a very touching moment, and it's very poignant of Rex to take an opportunity during mid-thought to make sure that he thought highly and wished well of Pete Gillen and Pete Gillen's family. Mike, the only problem with all that, of course, is Pete Gillen's not dead. Pete Gillen is very much alive, and he's actually an analyst for CBS, which is the exact same network that Rex Chapman is working for. And so Rex later tweeted out, which is funny, it's a great day, Pete's alive. So Rex Chapman killed poor Pete Gillen right there live on TV. Had to make a lot of people very confused to determine if Pete Gillen really was dead, and a lot of Googling of Pete Gillen. Turns out he's very much alive. So kudos to Pete Gillen for being alive. Sucks to be Rex Chapman. But I will say this, Mike. When you put a microphone in front of your face and you say talk, sometimes you get a lot of thoughts going through your head, and you say the wrong thing, the wrong name. It's unfortunate that it happened to be that Pete Gillen got killed.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how many times I've said something on here that probably was not accurate. Probably 10, 12 times an episode. But I try not to kill people off.
That's fair.
You got to know if somebody's dead, that's a big deal. But probably brought a little publicity to Pete Gillen. A lot of people probably went and Googled him and saw how big his head was.
That's fair.
So maybe it's a good day for Pete Gillen.
Yeah.
That's the only way I know this guy, because he's called UCF games. The guy's head is just monstrous. It's got to weigh at least 20, 30 pounds.
He's got a rather large dome. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's definitely got a rather large dome. He has done some UCF broadcasts in the past, so probably a face or a voice that you're familiar with, and apparently not dead. So congratulations to Rex Chapman, Mike. What is coming to an end though is episode 174 here, Mike. It was a fun one. Charge on, charge off. Marcus Tatum, women's basketball, men's hoops. We had a smashing good time. And just a quick little programming note for all of you kids out there. Mike's going to be taking some much needed vacation time, so we probably won't have a new live episode coming up here next week. I may do a bit of a re-air, so maybe we'll throw out a blast from the past interview and let you guys listen to that. But Mike's going to enjoy some vacation time, so much deserved. But don't forget, we'll still be on the live show. Trace and I will hold that thing down. Apologies to Juan Gonzalez in advance. He's going to have to live with just me and Trace and our favoritism of UCF and our boring takes. So, Juan, our biggest apologies, but Mike will be back soon enough. But make sure you join us on Thursdays, Mike. Enjoy your vacation, my friend. Hopefully it's a wonderful time and you and your family have memorable moments and just an overall smashing time.
Thanks, man. Looking forward to it. I'm going to miss you guys a little bit.
A little bit.
But Juan, I told Juan, hang in there.
Yep.
I know it's going to be tough for him.
Yeah.
I think he can make it through.
Mm-hmm.
I will be back eventually.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Can you do me a favor? Maybe just before you go, text me some of your hot takes that I'll just read them. Just so everyone, Juan is feeling okay about it. Just whatever Mike might say. I'll just break into the show and be like, oh, by the way, Mike wants to tell everybody, Johnny Dawkins sucks. Like whatever you need me to do. Just text me some of those.
Hey, Juan, every once in a while, needs a breath of fresh air, and I provide that for him.
That's interesting.
So,
has anyone ever told you in your life that you provide a breath of fresh air? Is that the first time you've ever heard that phrase as it relates to you?
Yes. I gotta say.
Yeah, I can't think of a time someone said that to me.
About me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
The things Juan said about me are things that nobody has ever told me before. Not even my wife, not my children, not my mother.
Fair.
So, I appreciate Juan.
No,
Juan
you should.
Is now my favorite fan.
You should.
So,
yeah, is that good news for you? Bad news? I mean, are you happy? Are you nervous? How do you feel about that?
Right now I'm okay with it.
Okay.
It can get to a point where I may get a little scared.
Okay.
There may be some what are they called?
Look, I'm sure you're safe. I think it's really Trace and I who have our safety at jeopardy here. It seems like Juan is really upset at us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be around anywhere close for Juan to get me for the next couple of weeks. So you guys better watch out.
Around, yeah.
Watch your back.
Watch your back. Watch your goddamn back in the shower. Eating at a picnic. Yeah, no, it's you're right. I'm nervous. Yeah.
Restraining orders may be in place soon.
But at least he watches. On the bright side, he watches enough to know he hates us, so I'll take that. At least it's another download, another listen, which we appreciate all of you guys doing, by the way. You guys are really good to us, so make sure you keep downloading, subscribing, rating, reviewing. We're going to try to work on some things here to jazz up the show a little bit in the near future, so your support means the world to us. So the more that you guys keep supporting us, the more we can keep, hopefully, doing some cool stuff for you, and we're looking forward to that. So subscribe to the social media stuff. Make sure you're doing all that jazz for us, and check us out on Thursdays, except this Thursday, no UCF Mike, but he's going to travel safe. You guys all have a fantastic week, and we will talk to everybody again soon. Everybody go Knights.
Green! Yeah, I get one more of those. Charge on.
Still disoriented. I just was not prepared for that. I should have seen it coming. Damn it.